I am just saying, like, follow the Gravity Castle cheat code, and then you will win, and then you will not get the horrible sexless woman that I used to have. And you will actually have a great life.
This is toxic masculinity. She's like, you know what? This guy's actually not a man that's worthy of me. This beautiful bombshell blonde badass. I'm gonna go find a new guy. Now that guy is gonna start that cycle, which leads him to Gravity Castle of, oh my god, my entire world and value was with this woman. Now I have nothing. Well, guess what? You had nothing beforehand, but now you got shaken out of apathy because of a dramatic or traumatic experience. Yeah. Now you're going looking for answers. Then you come across a YouTube video where Gravity Castle is speaking to your soul. Yeah. And now you're going, oh shit, I'm going to explore this, but I'm not going to be the guy that's coming and saying, hey, I have all the answers. Yeah. I'm going to say, hey, I have the path that you do need to go on, but you're going to find those answers yourself.
So that's where I like your program, because you're really directing and really putting yourself in the position to pay attention to where the fuck you're going in life and paying attention from step by step rather than just guessing, because a lot of guys are just guessing and you're really like just figuring it out. You know, being a man is more than what you've actually heard from your friend's father or whatever. There's a little bit more of the questions that you might have, because not every man fills in the gap sometimes. If you're not familiar with Smart and Mild, we are 2 mild guys. Now, if you see 3 mild guys talking about smart topics, and typically we talk about the topics of the week. Typically we talk about what's current events, what's happening now, and I think we're gonna have a really special episode.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about today.
Yeah.
What do we got? Is episode 15?
15? Yeah, episode 15.
This is episode 15. We're excited to be here.
Yeah. If you haven't noticed, we have another person right here.
Three gentlemen.
Three gentlemen.
Three amigos.
Yeah. We're talking about, and and we have typically we have a talk about X, Y, and Z about Kylie Jenner and why Caitlyn Jenner's running for California governor. But this time we're talking about something serious.
She had some interesting comments this week.
Very interesting. But we're gonna talk about that later on.
Love it.
In the talk. But don't get me wrong, we will get to that.
Love it.
And then we're gonna talk a little bit about our guy Ken over here. So I want to talk about let's introduce our guy Ken over here. So what do we call what's your last name, Ken?
Ken Conklin's my full name.
Ken Conklin. And Ken Conklin is the CEO, founder, owner of Gravity Castle. Everybody give a clap to Ken. Ken Conklin.
Happy to have him in the place. What a beautiful sight.
Beautiful. And what's your nickname, Ken? I just want to know, Subi.
Well, Ken, just straight up, but
Ken.
Like Kenny sounds cool. Kenny. If someone calls me Kenny or Kenneth, I'm usually like, wow, this person thinks I'm special.
Yeah. Okay.
So but that's also a story I tell myself.
Called you Kenny?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Girlfriends call him Kenny. When people revere you, they call you Kenneth. Yeah. I love that.
I like
Kenneth's more professional, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Kenneth,
yeah.
I feel like Kenneth is one of those names I would put on my resume to get a job.
Kenneth Conklin.
Kenneth Conklin. That sounds like a proper. But luckily, my name is Cameron. So, and then it's not too bad. It's actually pretty funny now that I think about it. You wouldn't believe the people that when they see me in an interview and they thought I was a white dude because of my name, and they're just like, oh, wrong door. So anyway. So anyway, you haven't heard of Ken. He's basically the founder of Gravity Castle. What Gravity Castle is a program essentially. Let's have you explain Gravity Castle.
Wait, in one sentence, in a very fancy way, it's a belief system and daily game of human optimization designed specifically to support businessmen with predictable expansion in both their business and personal life. If you break it down to a non-fancy sentence, it's basically a self-development process for helping men become more intentional, but specifically the guys that run a business and are in control of how much they make, and they view themselves as the decision makers of their life. So being able to have a process for them to actually view their life in a way that they're able to see areas that maybe they're not doing so well in, and go through a process to really focus on those weaknesses to then have a better holistic life that they live.
So with you here, are we supposed to hate Tom Brady? Like TB12, I think it's out the fucking door now.
Why? I think. What do you mean by that?
TB12 method. I think it's like a sports science method to be able to get yourself, your body, your mind, your psychology, at peak performance at all times.
Huh? I haven't heard about that yet.
All lifestyle.
TBT.
TB12 method. Tom
TB12.
Brady's method is just
he has a method. That's awesome.
Yeah, method of success. I think he attributes all of his Super Bowls to it. He attributes his, I think, marriage to Gisele Bündchen, right? So you get hot women, you score touchdowns, and you live the best life ever.
You win all the Super Bowls.
And your wife still makes more money than you.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Inspire others around you.
That's the way to live, for sure.
I definitely got to check that out.
Yeah.
How long have you been on this journey building this product?
Yeah, for the past 5 years, I developed a passion and skill set of marketing. Okay. And so at 19, I was hired as the marketing director for a property management company. So I was able to learn how to build websites and do all that stuff at a pretty young age.
Okay.
And I just figured, hey, I can start going all in on this career. So I did that for about 3 or 4 years. But I lost interest in it. And kind of like what we were talking about earlier, I like doing all this stuff, such as marketing and building things, but for myself, not necessarily for other people. And so I've just taken those skill sets and brought them to a point in my life where about a year ago, I realized my life was not working and I was kind of just going in a direction I wasn't really excited for, nor was I actually really proud of just the man I'd become. I felt like, especially with living in Los Angeles, this is something that I think we're going to have a really cool conversation on today, is being able to actually look at yourself and be like, hey, I can be in any environment or be in any situation, whether business is doing great or not so great. Or, hey, maybe I just went through a breakup and now I'm at, the quote unquote low point in my life. Or if things are going great and you have a really awesome, situation with, you have a great connection and relationship with your family, great friends, you have an awesome, spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever the situation is. I want to be able to be in any situation in my life and point in my life and go, hey, I know that I'm fucking rock solid with who I am inside. And I didn't have that for a long time. And so that's kind of the shift I took with Gravel to Castle, is I started making my wounds my work. All the problems that I had in my life, I realized, hey, I really want to figure out how to make this stuff work. And then once I've found out the answers to my life, for someone that's crazy like myself and has the same aspirations and just ways of operating and seeing the world, that's kind of how I've developed Gravel to Castle into what it is now, is just becoming that belief system and daily game of just making your life work, but tackling all those areas, not just business or dating or whatnot.
I've been meeting to meet a person like you my entire life.
Yeah.
Does it really start with making your bed?
I don't make my bed. It depends where I'm at.
Oh my god.
No way.
That's a shit.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Well, then
my room is spotless.
Curly-headed overlord. I'm off the hook. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Hey, my room is spotless majority of the time, but when it comes down to one simple comforter and then sheet, I don't see a point in that. So I know Jordan Peterson talks about first step, make your bed,
Make
right?
your bed, right.
I have yet to actually read his book. I've watched a lot of his lectures and videos, but hey, maybe I'm missing out on some awesome things in my life because I'm not making my bed. So, hey, I'm going to start doing that for the next couple of weeks.
I'd be like, yo, if you take my 7-step program, you're not even sleeping in your own bed anymore. Your hotel.
You're sleeping on the floor, getting used to it.
You're all over the place. You're Mr. Worldwide.
And you're making their sheets. So you're just yeah. So, I picked up a couple of things from you there, Ken, and from what you're saying. And one thing I noticed is, you seem a little pissed off about, not only where your life was going, but where other men's life was going. And did you see ahead of time the guys that are in their 40s, 50s, whatever, kind of just, going about their lives in a non-directed way? Did you get really pissed off about that? Is that kind of what made you want to really implement your Gravel to Castle into your life?
So yes and no. I mean, pissed off in the sense of I see there's a lot of issues with our society in the sense of our country is very divided. I don't feel like there's really a set clear of like church, for example. The fact that churches are closed right now, but strip clubs are open, like the
different forms of church.
What is important to people in our society in terms of things that really help people, or it overall makes people better, in how they're living their lives. I think that. Yeah, and the divorce rate, it's 50% right now.
Oh my god!
And all my family has been married and divorced, and I've just noticed there's a lot of things that I don't want to have become details of my life that I want to avoid even going down that direction instead of having to actually get there and then fix that problem. So yeah, that's where it comes into. I feel like I'm creating a process for me to live my life and make my life work. At the same time, for people that align with and see the world the way I do, hey, here's what I think is the way to go about living our lives to get to this destination, which is an awesome, fulfilling life that involves also creating a dent in the world. Yeah. But I'm also at the point where I'm like, hey, I don't have all the answers yet. Help me figure out what these answers are, because I don't want to be that guy that's putting himself on the pedestal saying, hey, I have all the answers. I'm striving to get to that point, but also I recognize that it doesn't matter where you're at, how old you are, how much experience you have. There's always so much more, and that's what I'm trying to do, is not make Grow the Castle about one man, but rather, like what I said, a belief system that's been developed and designed for and by businessmen, because it's coming from the lessons and experiences of all these elite guys that are going, hey, I want to be a better father, husband, leader in my community.
You know what's interesting about the society that we live in? So I did a study on divorce rate in college. And so I think sometimes society tries to stick all of the statistics against us to make us feel like we're supposed to fail. And then when you start using a program like yourself, like you say, my program is built to have you have success. Like you build in these principles and success can happen. You start expecting success, you manifest it, and it shows up. The divorce rate is actually calculated on. So it's 2 people getting married today versus 1 person getting divorced out of all of the people that got married in all of the last years. So of course it's hard to keep up to all the people that are getting married today based on all the people that are getting divorced off of like the 100 years of marriages that could potentially fall apart on the one day that everybody can get married. And then at my time that I was graduating from college, it was 2011, and only 26 states were even reporting marriages. So there was discrepancy. Some were reporting marriages, some were reporting divorces, and only 26 were reporting both. And so we love to like find these statistics to make us feel good about our failures, but there is actually a lot of statistics out there to make us feel good about our potential like successes. Like it's possible. You can make it happen.
100% possible. I've actually come to think of it and that's marriages that are sanctioned by the state. Mind you, people nowadays, they don't want to get married sanctioned by the state because of the factions involved to get them involved in your taxes, and what if we divorce and we have to split doing all this, split our finances through lawyers and all this stuff. I know a friend of mine now who actually got married but didn't get married through the state of California, so his marriage doesn't count on paper on the state of California. So there's a lot of that happening too.
It was funny because like the marriage rate in Nevada was good. Because everybody gets married there, but they don't get divorced
there. Oh my god!
So there are some states that it gets like a little bit dicey.
So those Vegas,
where it's like
all those Vegas marriages. There's so many Vegas marriages.
Very good statistics in Vegas.
But who the fuck lives in Nevada? Like
well, you don't get divorced in Nevada.
No.
You get married in Nevada, and then you get divorced and move to
anywhere
Nevada.
else. Yeah.
Maybe that's where the whole saying of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas is because it doesn't get reported back there.
Yeah. The divorce doesn't get state. Yeah, that's hilarious. So, you know, it's what gets reported to us, and unfortunately that's the negative end of it. But, you know, the whole point of your program is like basically we want to set ourselves up for success so we don't put ourselves in position to, you know, essentially fail for the nonsense reasons, the dumb reasons.
But also, like what is success, right? That all comes down to what someone actually values and wants to reach or accomplish in their life.
It's individual.
I feel like success, you know, especially when it comes to marriage, is literally like we set ourselves up for a target and we hit that target. I feel like that's what success is. If a marriage says we want to get married for the rest of our life, and you get married for the rest of your life, that's a target.
I mean, there's one target guys are trying to hit when they're thinking about getting married, and they're thinking about hitting that target a lot.
What is that?
The marriage night. It's all, hey, it happens like that.
I'm very interested to find out what the percentage is for sexless marriages. Dude. How many guys are married to a woman that just doesn't have sexual desire towards them anymore?
And sexual desire...
It probably goes both ways.
Sexual desire
100%.
does not match the men's sexual desire. Because a lot of women, to some level, have some... I mean, a lot of women definitely don't. But there's a certain level of women that just simply don't match. And then the men say they don't have sexual desire. You know? Like, say fuck it. I know. So I'm sorry, the curly overlords here. But say I want to do like reverse doggy style, sideways flip, whatever, and then she just like, I just want to lay on the bed. That is not my sexual preference. I think I might divorce you. So,
oh my God.
So it kind of comes to that down.
Wow.
To, it happens sometimes.
Yeah, that's why you have Tinder. That's why you find your wife on Tinder.
Yeah, and that's why people cheat. So my point is like there's a lot of differences in people trying to get married. So I get how that happens and I get how the divorces happen, and I guess I get how we're trying to get we're getting pushed down by the percentages. But
that also comes with the question of why does someone want to get married? Is it to have more sex? And I'm not an expert in this. I've never been married, and I find this topic very interesting. So I'm reading a lot of books and studying on it.
Yeah.
But from what I've read so far, getting married does not mean you have more sex. If you want to have more sex, go date more women.
Yeah.
Or whoever it is you date, right? But when it comes down to, like, if I were to ever get married, it would to be with a partner who challenges me, pushes me. I have sexual attraction to, of course, that's important. But then also I connect with on an emotional level, and I feel like really is a quality complement to my life. And
sure,
I think that's like an overall desire that most people would agree with. Yeah. But is that what most people are getting married for?
Well, I think
maybe
it's
maybe
confusing because we started with a society that was a primarily like Christian society, and like the really hardcore Christians, right? They were like, fuck you, we're getting on a boat, we're just gonna like sit on this boat until we find land just to be able to fulfill our religious freedom. That's why this country started in the way that it did, right? And willing to kick, kill, push out whoever was even in that path in order to exhibit that freedom.
Right.
And so the fundamentals within this country's laws were saying, oh, people were getting married based on this intention of the Christian faith initially. And that was the expectation of like a binding unity that was built in the eyes of God to be able to look past yourself and push together kind of for tribe, to be able to have this unbreakable bond that you will help this person get to heaven. That's like, you're just like, we're going to push together and we're not going to get in the way of each other's progress to heaven. We're going to push for each other's progress to heaven. And then we're going to have a bunch of little beings under us, our kids, that we're going to fight for too. And so it gets confusing now then, the tax system comes involved with understanding that when it comes to some of these more stringent religions expectations of marriage, that actually does allow for a better society. It relies for a strength and economically sound society. Let's not call it better because people will freak out. Yeah. But a more structurally like together place that's you can foresee it and you can calculate it. Yeah. Now, as our country becomes more comfortable with secularism, people are getting married kind of just based on like these cultural expectations or norms, or for like validation of like, hey, like we did this, right? Or
look, mom and dad,
damn near Instagram likes. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, sure.
I get that, but so that's where it gets dicey of what marriage really's expectation was. Now, like, I don't know why we need the state to validate a marriage when to me it's all about what happens in the church of why we have a marriage, not going like, oh, we eloped and we went down to like the city hall.
Sacramento,
like that just isn't like what marriage actually is.
Yeah.
Marriage is a unbreakable bond that like really is promoting growth. Right. But you don't have to do it that way either. You can be just like, hey, I'm just trying to fuck someone and make it honest for the night in Vegas and then break up the next day. Yeah. But it just gets confusing because marriage is totally all over the place what people think about it.
Yeah, it's not necessarily one particular thought. It's all over the place. Like I know people because right now the new generation of teenagers are just pumped to have a relationship just for not necessarily for Instagram likes, but what they do is like they basically go like, hey, I'm hot, you're hot, let's get together. That will be good for our brand. Right? Good for us. And not only I kind of like you, but like it would be even better. This especially for us.
The clout.
For the clout. And we get together.
Are you going to get in a TikTok clout relationship?
Probably.
That'd be awesome.
Probably.
I'd love to see you crying at Boa Or like Saddle Ranch just bawling your fucking eyes out. She's like making out, and then you get back together.
Yeah, and I'm gonna break up with her, and then meet up at Catch LA with a different girl, and then it'd be like, oh, like prop TMZ, like, oh, why I didn't know that it was happening. Oh, how can you catch me here? I'm gonna do all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the whole.
How did you find us at Craig's LA? Oh my gosh, we were just like sneaking out the front door.
Oh no, like how dare? So that's once I get famous. But like, they put themselves in a position of like, oh, that's cute, but they're not really thinking of like. They're thinking of forever in mind, like sort of, but not like thinking of like this is how we should structure our relationship in place to like not get fucked up. Like we should communicate this way. We should love ourselves this way. This is how I like to be this. This is how I like to be that. They're not really thinking about that. They're just thinking like we're together, we're hot, and then let's see how it goes.
And then sometimes if like you feel like, let's say your girlfriend is much better than you in this relationship, and then you like, oh, I'm a boring guy.
Yeah,
you got to keep it spicy. You got to keep it moving. You got to keep.
That's a lot of effort, and that's a lot more work to keep things working.
Yeah.
But you have to have that trip coming up. You have to have that next date planned. You have to have that next adventure. And I think when you don't have money, a girl goes, I get why we're not getting married. But if you got a lot of dough and you already burned through all the Netflix seasons and you've already gone to all the restaurants and you've gone to Hawaii like 3 or 4 times, she's looking at you going, what the fuck is happening here? Like, what is next? Like, I got to get in that white dress. We got to walk down the aisle. We got to buy the house. The kids got to come. And I actually think all that stuff is dope when you're doing it with the right person. But when you're doing it with the expectation of keeping the relationship moving forward, dude, that's dicey.
Yeah. And let's talk about like being, the relationship with, because of, the mix up of being married. Let's talk about being single, right? Why would you want, versus being single? And I'm not going to ask you why, but like being single versus being married, you're setting yourself up to have freedom, essentially. You're setting yourself up to, date whoever you want, do whatever you want forever in life. I think it's really interesting because it's like always like a back and forth.
And to also have genital awards.
Sure. And to have this back and forth to where like, I mean, if you're a good looking guy, of course you're getting poon anytime you want. But like, say you're some ugly guy, and he'd be like, being single doesn't really benefit me long term. Maybe I should just lock it up. But then you're locking it up for the wrong reasons. So it's really funky. What do you think about that?
I think it's important to question why would you want to be in a relationship or why would you want to be single, and make sure that those things are aligned with what it is you ultimately want individually, right? So like for me, I realized I like connecting with people and having awesome conversations, and just like I love having awesome sex and being able to just have fun and disconnect from my work. But what I value most is my life work, my life purpose and the path I'm on. And and this also comes from like why I've had to like move towards this route and working on things I'm working on, because I always needed to have someone in my life, and I felt like if I didn't have someone that was, say, a girlfriend that I really connected with, then I felt empty. But that comes from a place of scarcity rather than abundance and wanting to have someone be a complement to your life, right? In that document that I have that we chatted about a couple minutes ago, having a woman be a complement to your life rather than the sole focus of it.
Yeah.
And some people can disagree, of course.
And you need to be a complement to hers too.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not one-sided at all. But when it comes down to, look, is everything about your life trying to constantly excite that person, take them on new trips, be like, oh, what do I got to do next? Okay, cool. That's important. And if you want to have a relationship that lasts, you got to keep things interesting and kind of mysterious at some level too, but also very transparent and vulnerable. There's all these different aspects, right?
So we have a viewer who's saying you guys make relationships sound like a game or a battle plan. Definitely battle plan. We don't play no games up here at Smart and Mild.
And number 6,
battle plan.
Battle plan. Number 6 on, by the way, Gravita Castle's Irrefutable Laws of Female Nature. Number 6, we have put a woman on a pedestal and she'll view you as a fan. Put a woman on a pedestal and she'll view you as a fan. So let me tell you something.
Dude, you're going in.
I'm gonna tell you. I've had experience. Okay.
So hey, you actually haven't been a part of one of our episodes. I don't know if you watched one yet. So
we're sorry.
Obviously, you know that Cam is the biggest TikToker in the world, and
he's Okay, go ahead.
But these also do end up generally turning into kind of a back and forth of, I wouldn't say we're on like a couch with you talking about
women.
It's relationships, women. We're basically in a psychiatrist appointment by the end.
Yeah.
So we're a little early for it generally, but let's sit you down, Cam.
Yeah.
And let's talk.
Yeah. We're sorry. We whatever. But we talk about putting women on a pedestal and should you view as a fan. You know, the reason Woman Man Kenza says this is because, first of all, I don't know what's up with women's brain. Ken knows this because he's CEO of Gravity Castle, but
that's why we have men.
Yeah, women like this chase thing, and you talk a little bit about it in your irrefutable laws of human nature. But when you chase women or when you put women on this pedestal, why are we not getting what we want when we're trying to get? We're basically okay. Let me go back up a little bit. So we're told as men to give women gifts, give women whatever, give them attention, do all these things, and then all of a sudden when we do this, we're seen as the simp. We're seen as the person who gives too much. We're seen as the person who cares too much. Why is it that that rule of you view women as put her on a pedestal and view her as a fan? She views you as a fan. Excuse me. Why is that when we're just trying to be the man for the woman? Why is that when we're trying to do, essentially what we're told? Why are those rules wrong? What's going on here?
Well, first off, I want to start with kind of like what I said a couple minutes ago of that's a lot of work, right? Yeah. I'm so focused on what I'm trying to progress with that I don't have the time or mental capacity to put all that energy towards figuring out all those things with a particular person. Now, I have had plenty of experiences of been able to look back on events in my life and go, okay, I've realized that when I was too emotional in this relationship, or I put all my time and energy towards trying to please this person, that there started that backing away from that person and that kind of disconnect, and things started to fall apart. So I definitely, that statement of don't put a woman on a pedestal kind of just to me says, don't glorify someone just because they're hot and you like having sex with them, right? Sure. Or even just someone that you just admire and go, wow.
You can to a certain extent.
You can, but then also that comes into how do you view yourself? I think it's great to admire people. Yeah. In that document, I think on that principle, I wrote down women, just like men, shit and smell bad if they don't shower, right?
Not if you don't let them in your house.
So
that stuff, that does not happen.
So that kind of allows you to go, oh, this is another human being that's not perfect. So why would you put someone who is not perfect on a pedestal, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's weird because
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think sometimes simps are looking at their giving or their groveling as a transactional thing.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna play this pity party.
Hey, I just bought you all these clothes. What am I getting next?
So they're then somehow they're hurt by it. They're like, oh, but I did the roses and I did the cuddle and I did all that that fun stuff, and then they didn't get anything back, and it's just an inappropriate relationship for how that stuff's supposed to happen. Because the girls are like, I want you to do it because you want to do it. Right. And that's actually the honest truth of how it should happen. Right. If you are just doing it for her, you are going to have a weird transactional gap in your expectation of how this relationship is going to work. Right. You're going to be sad.
Right. Because you're setting it up as conditional. So, of course, you're going to have an issue because both people are looking for the condition that you are looking to fulfill.
It's not going to work.
But also, if you're putting someone on a pedestal, right, then all of a sudden you're putting themselves above, or them above you, which just goes against our kind of main principle of have a woman be a complement to your life. Of course, that's also with woman having a man be a complement to her life, right? But if someone, and there's another principle, I forgot what I titled it, but the caption below it is, if you make someone if you make a woman your center, meaning if your state of mind, your happiness, and your overall well-being is reliant on the relationship with a particular person going smoothly, then you're going to be in for a very unfortunate ride, because all of a sudden now when things are going wrong, the mental state and emotional state and everything about one person, it's now controlling your life and your ability to be centered and focused and just like happy. And that was a problem that I had in the past was, oh, if this is going wrong, I felt incomplete. And so that's why that phrase of, oh, you complete me. I think you should never have someone complete you. And obviously it's easier said than done. Mm-hmm. But if you actually have that perspective and the way that you're going about working on bettering yourself is, hey, I'm going to make sure that I really don't need someone else to complete my life. That's when things are going to be great, because if you have two people that are in that same frame of mind and actually coming from abundance and desire rather than actual scarcity, well, then you're going to have something amazing, hopefully.
How long have you been single with this mindset?
9 months.
Exactly. What's interesting is you have the perfect mindset right now that girls are attracted to. They go, once a dude, like, it doesn't take long for a dude to get up on his 2 feet and be like comfortable with himself and say, like, she doesn't have to complete me. Like, I have my thing. Like, I'm looking for my other. I'm looking for a partnership, a teammate. Dude, before you know it, it's gonna get scary for you. You're gonna have to say, like, okay, am I getting married or not? Probably. I'd say in 6 months, there's a girl propositioning you, being like, we probably are gonna have to get married, right?
Yeah. That's hilarious. You're setting yourself up to be married again.
It's smart. You're in the perfect promotional state to be able to get in a relationship.
Yeah, that's funny.
But so then, yeah. I just push that start stop, and then push it once. Cool. That was good.
Cool. But yeah, you're saying it's funny because women are attracted to that, which is interesting because they moved away from the women that are dependent. They're moving into the men that are completely independent, that are almost opposed to women with their bullshit.
Well, when you're in that mindset, you'll have a dependent woman now come to you, and you're
like,
oh, dude,
and they're like, oh my god, how sexy! How sexy are you, kid? Oh my god! Like, and they can be like, you're kind of sexy too. I guess well, fuck. And then all of a sudden you're married. So yeah, it happens like that sometimes. I mean, shit.
So there's that quote of, a woman will spend so many years changing a man, but wonder what happened to the man that she initially met.
Right.
That comes in with both sides, right? I think a man should always hold his frame. Just like, again, so there's always going to be someone that's like, oh, well, why not woman? Like, everything I'm talking about is for men and women, right? 100%. But I'm specifically addressing men because I'm a man. I don't understand all the problems and desires of a woman. Mm-hmm. I just have recognized and interviewed and talked with a bunch of people to hear what they say. And so when it comes with me in my own life, I know that for things to work well, like I have, I'm not some guy that just has a ton of women coming after him, right?
Well, I don't put myself out there. Coming.
But I hope so, right?
YouTube, Spotify.
Yeah.
You can like and subscribe, and then you can go like and subscribe to this.
But when it comes to like dating and sex life for myself, like I'm not overly like going like, wow, everything's so amazing, but like I'm pretty content. Like things are solid, and I'm enjoying myself, right, as I'm on my path. And I've noticed that with what you said, my state of mind and approach to just overall being myself with this mentality, it's attractive to women.
Yeah, and build that gravity.
I have one particular woman that I'm seeing here and there, and she
happy to see you here.
Says a lot of comments and like admires me and makes all these, like gives me all these compliments that I'm now, and like even with that comment of you guys make relationships sound like a kind of a game or battle plan. The reality is I kind of view it that way because I'm now testing things. But that's where it comes in with my approach to dating in the past was, I'm looking for that soulmate. But there's no fucking such thing as a soulmate. Yeah. And some people can
shows up. It gets kind of weird.
But then again, right? Like I haven't spent enough time to really decide what my thought on this particular conversation is when it comes to soulmates and whatnot. But I do recognize that, hey, if all of a sudden you go through a breakup and you're heartbroken and go, oh man, but then all of a sudden you meet a woman that you're very attracted to that is down to earth and bubbly, and you're like, wow, this person's fun to hang out with. While you still may be thinking about that last person that things didn't work out with, that you're completely heartbroken about, you start to have hope and go, well, who's this person?
Sure.
And so that kind of goes against that idea of a soulmate, because there's multiple people that you can connect with and have an awesome life experience with. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to you have to not idolize that idea of, I need to have that one person that's going to complete me, or I need that perfect person that really gets me and completes me. I think you find a lot more happiness, but then also you get that end result of having people more attracted to you and wanting to be in your life from not even having that overall desire.
Yeah.
Desperation even as well. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's weird sometimes when people can't value their past relationships to be happy about the present. You know, it's like, what's so wrong with being? I have like had good relationships in the past. Like I've really enjoyed it. I've learned about myself. I've learned about other people that got me to where that I am today. Like I just don't hate my exes. Those were good relationships.
Yeah.
It didn't work because we have differing paths and just I'm not interested, right? But when I think if you're one of those people that's like has to always hate everything that you've always went to in order to have like your soulmate, dude, that's just a dangerous proposition to then put that other person in, because then they're saying like, what do you mean? Like you were like sad and lonely till you met me? Like that is disgusting. Like no one wants to really hear that. No one has enough time, energy, or resources to be able to fill that gap.
And that also comes in with if someone talks bad about their previous, partners, and says, "Oh, like all my ex-boyfriends were horrible people," blah blah blah, or "Hey, all my ex-girlfriends were this or that," and then a woman's hearing this, like that should be a red flag if they always put the past partner as the bad guy in the situation, 100%. Because that's where that negative experience reframing document inside of one of our programs. There's a series of questions, and one of them, or at least the first three, is what just happened based on your perspective. And then it's what just happened based on the perspective of someone that's not involved in that situation, watching it from, 500 feet away. And then what just happened based on the person that you are upset with. And this is a great document and tool for a business venture falling apart, a relationship ending, or just something that triggers you that involves another human being. And what this allows you to do is start to step outside of your own emotions and look at it from a logical perspective, but even step into the emotions of another person and start to question of, hey, am I actually this righteous person that was so wronged? Or did I actually make mistakes and do things that maybe there's a reason why this person left? And that also what comes into, yes, you want someone that's loyal in your life, but ask yourself the question of, are you someone who someone actually would desire to be loyal to? There's that yin and yang aspect. There's two sides of every story. And if you don't have two people that are committed to that growth and actually showing up, that's why I think a lot of marriages fail, is because two people get comfortable. I've experienced this in my dating life. Mm-hmm. So I haven't been married yet, but I've been able to experience this in my dating life to recognize, hey, I started to get comfortable where, hey, to get laid, we just have the person come over and we watch a movie and then we expect to have sex. Sure. Versus when you're
like a good bag of popcorn.
Yeah, the popcorn's necessary.
Of course, yeah. But just don't do the cheesy popcorn if this is the proposition.
Yeah.
I swear.
It's going to be dicey.
Do not do that.
Or the siracha in the popcorn. Holy shit. Be careful with yourself.
Oh, gosh.
Do not. I swear.
I feel like you have some pretty scary experiences.
I
don't know. I sometimes like sriracha in my popcorn. I don't know what to tell you.
It's kettle or normal popcorn. Don't fuck around.
Well, if the two people get comfortable, right? I'm working on a document. And all this stuff is going to become a book. I've made a decision, and actually in the past couple of days, because I've realized that I want to actually be able to have something that I could just have someone buy online or just give to someone that I feel really needs it.
Author is a good dating title.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not doing this to be an author, right? Okay. I'm actually doing this because I'm so passionate about trying to find out these answers. And so that's why right now they're all Google documents, and there's probably like 40 or 50 of them right now. But eventually I'm going to organize it into an actual book that people can just go through.
You got a booklet, though.
It's a binder. It's more of a workbook.
A workbook, binder, booklet, book.
And so I'm working on a document right now that will have the 5 phases of relationships. And I haven't fully broken these down, but there is obviously that seduction phase where two people are trying to be on their best behavior and impress the other person. You're always trying to make them go, wow, this person's actually so great. And then once you've gotten past that initial seduction phase, now it's the honeymoon phase. Oh my God, this person's so perfect. This person is amazing. And you don't see through all the flaws. Yep. And so while some people do change, oftentimes you just don't recognize either red flags or just incompatibility because
you just don't care.
Things were just, you don't maybe care, or you just don't even see it. You have a filter on it. It's the love filter.
Yeah, you don't really care. You're seeing, it's funny. in all relationships I've been in personally, like in that honeymoon phase, you see the red flags, but you take them as almost jokes. You're like, ha ha ha, that was funny, you did that. Ha ha, that was funny, you did that.
You put them in the back pocket for a good old fight.
Those aren't 20 red flags. That person just loves wearing the color red.
Yeah, and then over time it's just like click, 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 and over time you're just like son of a bitch, I really don't like the way you fucking close the door. Like, I really fucking don't like the way you fucking pour your coffee.
There are some nuanced behaviors that just blow it out for you, huh?
All the way. And it's like...
You're like Jerry
That's
Seinfeld.
how you tie your shoes, you psychopath.
It's little things. It's just like I don't wait. Like, I like the way you talk. I want low talk, not high talk. Do not yell in my face. Like, don't do any of this shit. So I get how, you know, it was cute. It was cute in the beginning, but now it's not. And I'm tired of it. And so... I get how people, you know, go through that process. But what's interesting is that, like, what's interesting about dating is that, like, we know that, right? We know that there's a honeymoon phase. We know that there's an initial phase. We know that we're going to get over it. So why do we, you know, I would say not get comfortable, but why do we say, like, we know this is going to come. We get to the place where we're like, I'm sick of your shit, but we don't address it initially. Why don't we do that as men? I don't get it.
Well, don't we think that with the perfect girl, honeymoon phase never ends?
Right.
That's kind of like a weird inkling expectation.
That's a good point, right?
You're never going to like look at another person at a bar. You're never going to have any other interests.
This
You're
is my
always
girl
going to be
forever.
like this. You're always going to like, what are you talking about? Like,
no,
yeah. But that's because you're basing your relationship on the wrong expectations of what this is like future is about. If you just are dating a girl because you think she's hot and that you want to have sex, it's not going to work.
Right. And that's if you're doing it, you're just like, oh, okay, I guess I don't want to address it because then I will get out of sex and hot girls. So I guess, I can see how that happens.
And so that's where someone can have the opinion whether this is morally right or wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm just addressing that someone could view the relationship game as an actual game of, oh, I know that once I pass, you know, stage 2 or phase 2, the honeymoon phase, that's when the sex starts to go away because it becomes more real.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think being transparent, and like for me, for example, I just recognize that I'm a very honest person when it comes to talking about like, hey, I didn't date for like 6 months or so after I went through my last breakup.
Yeah.
And then just in the past few months, I'm just, you know, enjoying more life and having friends over and going on dates. Or I don't even go on dates, Flea. I just have.
What we're saying is Ken is having a lot of sex is what we're saying here.
No, but like I'm having enough sex to be like, hey, I'm content. But that also comes in with like, I think sex is valued so highly by people in the sense of like, oh, I need sex. Like I have friends that talk about, oh, if I don't go a week without sex, I go crazy. Like
that's crazy.
I've gone months. I've gone having sex every day for weeks straight.
Your boys
I've been on both ends.
Yeah.
I've been on both ends of the spectrum, but and so there comes at times where it's like, wow, like I actually want to go get laid.
Right.
Yeah.
But also like that's not the main focus, and that's where it comes into why do people go out to bars? Like I'm not a fan of going out to clubs or bars because I just don't find them fun.
Yeah.
Now, if I
love
think
the club.
Clubs can be fun with some friends if I'm with like childhood friends or like close friends.
Yeah.
But overall, I just have a bad experience. And I tried giving it a shot a couple weeks ago with a couple of buddies of mine, and I just had a horrible time. I ended up leaving
in LA?
Santa Barbara.
In California, how COVID dare you?
No, Santa Barbara, everything's
how
open.
COVID dare you?
But the thing is, I ended up leaving and going to a cigar lounge to go hang out with some guys.
Interesting.
That I didn't know. And I didn't have that fun of a time because none of them wanted to play chess with me. And that's something I really want to start doing is playing more chess.
Are you texting a girl the entire night though?
I don't text anyone.
Oh, no text.
No.
So I mean, when you're drinking, you're more of like a high brain. You know, you want to make sure you're doing something while you're.
I have more fun hanging out with 5 people by a campfire or having some drinks or doing things, right? I don't find fun in going out and meeting a bunch of new people. And my buddy Nick, we were doing this, and that's what, you know, I felt like I was a buzzkill because all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I'm not having a fun time.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna leave. Because
that's where I'm different. I like to meet someone every time I go out.
Yeah.
But I usually meet people like in a fairly like a level past surface.
Yeah.
You know, like my conversations do go a little bit deeper. I think I'm just nosy or something.
Yeah.
But that is truly the reason I leave the space is, you know, first kind of going dancing. I just love the celebration of like dancing and like being in an environment where people are drinking. Yeah. And then I love like meeting random new people. That's why I like podcasting.
Yeah,
right?
I met him as random as you can get. Like,
right.
It's crazy. Like,
and then myself and the curly-headed overlord just have the ability together to like just meet random people real fast.
Great, And so that's really interesting. So I mean, we're kind of going 47 minutes of time. So I want to talk a little bit about your booklet, your program, and everything. Talk a little bit about the one thing when I met you, and one thing that really stood out to me is in your book, the dramatic wake up call. Basically, what you're doing is you have a set of squares essentially where you're able to quote from 0 to essentially the end of your life. And you have to fill in the dots of what age you are currently and where you have to go with the average life expectancy of a male.
It's a scary one.
It's very scary. So like what's interesting is like even at 20, 25, you're like damn near halfway through.
Or you're looking at it like, oh, I got so much time.
Yeah,
probably not. It's weird to see the ticker.
No. So
but everyone always says time goes by faster as you grow up. So
time goes faster as you grow up. So you're thinking like, yeah, I have so much time. Ahead. Time goes faster when you grow up. But like when you write it down on a form, like the dramatic wake up call that he has, you really see visually how much time you actually have, and you're just like, oh fuck, I got to handle my business yesterday. I got to do whatever I need to do, or impact the people's lives, or whatever I need to impact, or handle whatever plan I have in place now. Because the reality is I'm only gonna be young for so long. I'm gonna get older, and to a certain point, I'm not gonna be able to do what I say I wanted to do, and I'm gonna regret it. So I don't want to be in that place. So therefore, like it kind of like points out like how much time you have left on this earth.
Yeah.
And I really like, why did you what made you want to create that? Because that really woke me up a little bit about your program.
So I have this necklace that has my birthday, and then when I die, I'm gonna have that date on there as well. And I wear this as a constant reminder of, hey, I don't know when this day is, but it's coming. Hopefully it's past 78, but it could also be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And while some people could be very uncomfortable with that constant thought, I have that thought so often that it just has become normal. And so
I have that constant thought too.
Yeah. And so that first week inside of our 30-day challenge is called Shaken Out of Apathy. And it's all about exposing you to the reality of where you're at in your life. And so that dramatic wake-up call document is great because you go, oh shit, like you actually see how much time has gone by instead of just reflected in your own head.
Yeah.
So that's a very powerful tool. But then also going to the cemetery, we have this exercise, and I've talked about this on a bunch of other podcasts. But being able to be comfortable with looking at, okay, my time on Earth is going to come to an end, and if all of a sudden that day is today, what do I want to have? What I want to actually do with that time that's left remaining. And so when you actually start to live your life with that constant thought process of, hey, I'm going to die eventually, what do I actually want my life to be? It's actually quite liberating instead of scary, like what most people probably think about it if they don't do this often. And so, I mean, right now at my current phase in my life is finish up volume 1 of this book I'm creating, and then start taking a bunch of men through this process, and then also go on some fucking insane quests. I'm gonna go to India. It's a one-way ticket, a wallet just to maybe have like a couple $100, and there's nothing else. Survive for like a month and go see what life creates for me. And just go to all these different countries.
I can link you with somebody there when you're trying to go up north.
I think it would be important to do some research beforehand before I go places.
Some level, but yes.
But also,
I did India for a month and a
that
half.
excites the hell out of me because when I was 19, I left that marketing director job that I was talking about and booked a one-way ticket to Hawaii. I still had a month and a half left of the semester. I was in school temporarily, and I had 7 more months on my lease, and I had a full-time job. I just left. I didn't give a 2-week notice. I just fucking booked a one-way ticket. Now, Hawaii is not that different from California in the sense where everyone's speaking English and people are friendly and it's outgoing, yada yada. But I just took a big jump. I didn't know anyone out there, and I literally didn't have a place to live when I first moved out there. I just had 2 backpacks and a suitcase and decided to move into a place I found on Craigslist that same day. But that position of putting yourself in something where like I don't know what the fuck is going to happen, that not only excited the hell out of me, but it allowed me to start training that ability to be put in an environment where I don't know anything about, trust that things are going to work out, and even if they don't, doesn't matter. I'm adaptable. I know how to make things work for my life, and that's rewarded me so much of the past few years.
What's interesting about that is, and for what we're talking about is, not only is that adaptive, and good for you for your brain growth. For if you for whatever reason get put in another situation that you're completely unfamiliar with, you use those skills to adapt, overcome, and be better. That's interesting what I learned about you. That's why that's why you made me like you a little bit, and you as well, LJ. And also, I thought about that a little bit about going to like London and stuff for that reason. One way ticket to London because I figured, I'm like acting opportunities in filming opportunities, but that for that reason. So that was really interesting. And also like putting yourself in a position to like, I noticed that you have a lot of like brain growth, if you will, like a lot of available space to learn. And I think that's what intelligence is, rather than the stuff you actually know. I feel like intelligence is the ability to learn and the constantly want to learn and to take that information and adapt it, use it,
want to apply it, and use it.
Yeah, but constantly learn. Not when you're out of college and all of a sudden it doesn't even matter if you went to Harvard. If you don't want to learn after Harvard, you might as well just be as dumb as me. But if you constantly want to learn and constantly want to adapt and build, even if you're 50s, 60s, 70s, I feel like that's what true intelligence is, because you're constantly building and learning. Yeah, and I feel like you have a lot of that.
And it's interesting. I appreciate that. But I always thought that just because someone is older than me, that they have more life experience and they're wiser. But there's a lot of 50-year-old people that are fucking clueless on life. That, again, it all comes down to what you value in your life.
Yeah.
And so someone could hear that, and so like you can look at this person and this person and all of a sudden go, oh, this person is better off. They're more successful.
Yeah.
But again, successful with money wise, if you're using that word success to equate to dollars, then it comes to a numerical comparison.
Yeah. We see you different. We're going to answer you just a second, okay?
But again, like, think about the people, and I learned this by firsthand experience, one with myself to a small extent, but then also being around some very wealthy people. When I moved to Los Angeles 2 years ago, and I was in the house that was next to what the Hype House was.
Yeah.
And I had a first, like a reality check of, wow, I'm chasing something that is just making me miserable. It was a bunch of kids that were in their early 20s going, hey, I can afford to live in this cool house.
Even though they couldn't.
We're right?
Yeah.
But then also, we're just fucking miserable. And they were driven through ego, and I was one of them.
Yeah.
And so I had to recognize, wow, if I keep living my life this way, I'm going to be that 40-year-old guy going to a club, ordering bottle service to attract young women.
Yeah.
I've been around and seen a lot of that in Los Angeles. To have recognized that I don't see that as successful. Right. While some people, my younger self included, would go, wow, that's the life I want to live.
Right.
Because I would see the married life and go, well, that's not it. But now I'm starting to realize, just because someone has something that's working in one area, again, it comes down to what you truly want. For me, I want to have an 8-figure business.
Of course.
But I want to be crawling through the mud with a bunch of guys doing some boot camp shit.
Right.
I don't want to be dressed up in a suit and have a corporation.
Yeah.
I'd rather have just a 6-figure business that's working, doing stuff that I'm really excited over, than have a whole bunch of money doing this other thing. But then that also makes you realize that you don't have to sacrifice. And that's why this whole program is all about. Week 2 is all about the business development and dialing things in and being able to look at your business as an actual operational machine. Hey,
regardless of what it is,
there's certain steps, and it all comes down to the numbers aspect and the key steps that you take to acquire a customer, keep them happy, and get them wanting to buy from you again. So breaking things down in a very simplistic manner, making you realize, okay, that's what I need to do for the financial aspect. You have to dial that in. Yeah. But then what about the happiness aspect?
Right.
What do you realize makes you happy? For me, it's fulfillment in what I'm doing, plus having good people around me, plus just overall purpose.
Right.
If I combine those 3 things, that's like the equation for happiness.
You're living correctly, man. And I feel like you're setting yourself up for success long term, regardless of anyone who enters your life, married or not. and you're setting yourself for just position to really be 100 yourself. So we see diff fit. Where should a 20-something male go to make friends? I'm looking for positive mentors and just good friendships.
Where are you at? Are you in LA?
Also, book suggestion for you guys. Curious a fan. Leslie, wonderful book to read. Not sponsored. Just changed my perspective. Where do we go to meet friends? It's funny. There's no one answer. I feel like you actually just keep searching, keep going out, keep meeting people, and keep constantly. Also, I think this is, in my personal perspective, you kind of have to go in a way through friends. In a way, because you're gonna go out, meet people, find friends, and you're gonna find out that some people are good, some people over time may not be want to be your long-term friends.
Sure.
And you get to find that out over time, but like eventually, if you continually search, I feel like
Lancaster, PA.
They
nice. Go Philly.
Nice. I feel like you will get to be able to find people that you like. Because there's no really one answer. There's no like bar, club, school, whatever, street. There's no one answer.
I say go to what you're interested in.
Go, yeah.
Go do what. So if you're a single guy with nothing, like you have nothing, as no friends, or the resources that you desire in life aren't there. Go to those interest places.
Right.
So like I find all of my friends on dance floors and at church. Those are my happiest places. Yeah. I love the conversation of eternal life. And then I love to get up on a stage and dance. It's great. Yeah. I don't know why. So I met my best friend and my girlfriend both on a dance floor, right? And we all happen to like have kind of similar expectations of life and how faith works within us. Right. So I do think you have to live out loud and find the people that you're desiring to be around. Go to the spaces that they are.
Live out loud is a good point to play, because like, go be at those places. And also like I met good friends of mine randomly. So like I met you randomly. I met you because I didn't even know I was going to your place. So like be open. Like, I would say to add to that, be open, be friendly, be the friend that you want as well. I think that's a very important point.
So,
because like you will literally attract the people that you want. And also just be free. I mean, people want people that are free, not are locked up.
And it's funny if you sometimes, like, so example, when I met you, you are on this big like party bus. It's a protest bus.
Yeah. We're protesting George Floyd fucking killing. But anyway.
So it's a basketball hoop on the front of the bus. It was a hoop bus, right?
Yeah, yep, hoop bus.
And then so you're like DJing it from the roof.
Yeah, on my phone. I'm just like,
you're just having all this blast. I'm like, and so myself and Elof, it was kind of deep into quarantine. We're very bored. We're like, you know what? Let's just go on Venice Beach.
Yep.
Like, let's go grab some beers. Let's just have a walking date and just enjoy one of the environments that we know is still vaguely open.
Right.
And we saw this kind of abyss, right? There, this not abyss. What is this? An oasis
yeah.
of these people like doing slam dunks. Right. You're up on the roof of this bus, and it's kind of a little bit of chaos.
Yeah, yeah.
We're like, that looks awesome. So go into the environments that you have interest in, and say, those people receive you too.
Right.
Like we walked in, we're like, yo, what's up? We are here and we're down with everything that's happening.
And I'm like, what's up? And I was drunk.
And I have kind of the trust in that system because I've practiced it so many times that I know I'm going to be received well if I'm in a place that I feel comfortable in.
Right.
And just trust that.
Right.
But it can be, sometimes I even have to shake off that own dust on my own boots where I'm like, man, but does it feel like the right time? Do I have the right energy?
Right.
Do I need to go to the next place, the next meeting or whatever? It's like, if you see someone that's interesting, especially if you're like a single guy, go up and say, hey, how you doing? I think you look very intriguing.
Yeah.
Stop saying like, hey, I like your big ass. That looks nice and juicy.
Yeah.
Go like, it's just like, yo, I think you are one of the most intriguing people I've seen today.
Right.
You don't have to say in a lifetime. Stop being a creep.
Yeah.
Just start there.
Yeah, start there.
And my name's LJ.
Yeah.
It will work.
So
and I met you damn near just as randomly. Like I didn't expect to go to the place that I was going to meet you at the Hype House. And I think you're right. And like all of a sudden, like I met you. I kind of saw you kind of like sitting in your like. Initially, actually, you wanted to like let's film, and then like I kind of like just noticed through my brain. I was like, who's the person who runs this shit? So that's where my brain goes. And I'm like, who's the person who's like Because I'm not really interested in meeting the people that are just like the pawns.
But he actually had a TikToker on strings, right? So he was puppeteering a TikToker.
Yeah. He was just like,
so he was truly the puppeteer and the puppeteer.
Yeah. He was just like, he's like, you dance, you act, you do that, you do that.
From a balcony, and 3 stories above.
He was sitting in like the big ass like kitchen counter. Yes. The kitchen counter was as big as this fucking living room. I shit you not.
Sure.
Like, am I lying? And then he was just like, what's up? And I was like, what's up? And then we started talking a little bit. And I'm like, okay, like this guy's really interesting. This guy's really smart. And I want to know what this guy's all about. You know?
Babysitting TikTokers.
Right. And then
God, that sounds horrible.
And we started reeling him in. And then all of a sudden, here he is. So, you know, the point is like, yeah, like, you know, be open, be free, and see what's up. And
so all of what they just said is awesome, and I agree with that. But there's also the complete opposite, which is what I feel like I fit into the case of where I've always tried to find friends at these different places. And while going out to different areas, like, again, like, so obviously a club or bar is not my space. You don't like but going out to different places, yeah, like you have to put yourself in an environment where you see people. However, I'm realizing I haven't found, and I've really gone out and tried to find this in my life, a place where I can actually find people who are interested in the same stuff as me, which is why I'm creating it. Which is why instead of looking for that place, create it. What I want to do is have a place where we can have intellectual conversation, play chess, work out, fucking do jujitsu, and rip each other's heads off, while also talk about our problems and get vulnerable. And I haven't found that place. When I was at that cigar lounge in Santa Barbara a couple weeks ago, I was asking all these guys, where in Santa Barbara can you go to just talk about life and be around a bunch of guys who are all focused on like being better? Yeah. None of them had an answer. Yeah. They all were just watching the game, so smoking cigars and just hanging out. But it's always surface level conversation. I don't always need to have conversations to talk about the meaning of life and all this stuff. But for the most part, that's what intrigues me. And when it comes,
night generally ends with that. It always kind of comes to that consensus of like the meaning of life.
Mine's the opposite. It starts with that, and then it gets to, all right, let's just like fucking fuck off now. Yeah. But that also comes in with like, what do I find to be fun? Sure. I don't find it fun to just go crazy at a bar or club unless I'm with friends that I actually like already know and kind of like. Yeah. But you know, we all have different like emotions and moods and all that stuff. So it's kind of like a, you know, it's not always the same thing.
It's not always the same.
100%.
It's all different. So
you got to know yourself.
So yeah, you got to know yourself. Basically, you know, be open, and as well as like if what Ken says, if the space is not open to the people that you want to meet, I mean, fucking create it. Fucking create it, because
that's been the hardest thing for me to do in my life.
It's hard, but it's possible, right? Like we are able to create groups, meetings, companies in this day and age, whatever we want. I mean, hell, if you like, you know, paper planes, if you like a remote control car, I really like remote control cars, you know, and create a group, a Facebook group for goodness sake, and then have people come to your likings of remote control cars and have people hang out that really share that passion with you.
So selfishly,
when you have a female ever ask you what's the best gift to give a man, we figured this out. It's a remote control car. It doesn't matter what age. A drone, if you're bougie like that.
That is a remote control car.
Absolutely.
It basically is a remote control car.
But so for all the women out there, if you ever like, what do I give my man on his birthday? And I don't know. Give him another fucking remote control car.
Actually,
they can come every 3 months.
Or if you're a funny guy, say some space.
Right.
There you go.
And that is taking my remote control car out. I mean, Jesus Christ. So I mean, yeah. So that is a good gift, by the way. I mean, because I want one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, real quick. So part of me selfishly creating this 30-day challenge was actually that time period where we met and we had all those people coming over. I realized, okay, this TikTok space is not my fucking vibe. Yeah. After filming a handful of funny videos, it was fun for a little bit.
How did you find yourself there?
That's tough.
In the middle of the TikTok universe.
Well, again, a bunch of TikTokers were just hitting me up. I'm not a fucking TikToker. I don't do that stuff, right? Yeah. I want to have an awesome audience on YouTube, but where I'm filming like hour-long podcasts in the dark with a, you know, dim light like Jocko Willink, right? Talking about fucking discipline and shit like that. That's what I want my content strategy to be. That's nothing. Like all these kids were going over, and like I recognize this. I don't talk to most of the people that were coming over at that time period. Yep. Not because, and like I recognize it from both.
It was probably illegal though too.
What?
The 17-year-old girls.
Oh, we never had people that were under like 20.
Of course not.
Yeah. We're not interested. Yeah.
No,
that is disgusting. That doesn't happen in LA.
It's too much.
Wrong.
It's too much nonsense to deal with.
Talk to Michael Jackson.
Yeah. No. no, yeah, there's definitely a lot of kids always like trying to come over, but I made it clear like this is an adult place.
Jesus Christ.
And again, I just had a couple friends over at a time, but
totally.
my point is, I sent this 30-day challenge to a handful of people that were in my life at that time, just like actually saying, okay, do these people actually care about Gravel Castle or this here because of the house? 99% of them, and that's a big number. I wasn't around a lot of people, meaning pretty much almost all of them were just focused on being at the house. Cool, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I also realized that, look, I want like a qualification process.
Totally.
And this is a perfect way. If I send this to someone that genuinely says, hey, I really like what you're all about. Cool. Hey, here's this for free. I'm not selling this to them. Go check this out. If they don't check it out, immediately and then I have on day one, they have to send a photo for the day one process. That's just immediately if they don't send that, I go, okay, they're not actually serious.
Is that before and after photo?
No, it's like a face shot. It's like this for this.
It's like a happy thing. Like, hey, I'm
good. Kind of. But
I remember that.
There's like a day 1 and day 30, but it's with the shirt on. It's not all of your body.
Yeah.
But it is supposed to be like a comparison, but like it's like a psychological comparison in your own mind.
The moment.
But the point is, it allows me to find out, okay, this person that says they're interested in Gravel Castle, are they actually interested just because they want to connect with me and say that, and hopefully that this expands their career because we're going to work on something together?
Right.
Cool, that's totally fine. But when it comes to like genuine friendships and people that really are aligned with my values and what I'm all about, this is an awesome process because now they're able to actually experience something I've put so much of my life into for them to actually experience that thing.
Yeah.
And then find out if they really are aligned. I'm going to eventually create, whether it's in 3 months or 3 years, a place where I have all these awesome businessmen coming together to work on themselves to become better leaders in their community and actually leave a real dent in the world. Right. There's all these big problems that I want to work on solving, and I'm not going to talk about, we're going to find a solution to this problem. It's not cancer, because I don't think I'm going to be heading down that route, right?
We don't know that yet.
But I don't know if I'm going to be I'm not, right? I have my lane, but there's a lot of emotional things. Like, so for example, can you cure anxiety?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
You have people that can say yes.
Use anxiety to the best. Anxiety is actually one of the most valuable things on earth. If you can get it and use it
to your advantage,
because it keeps you here. Yeah. It keeps you like on this light beam. Like anxiety to me is this thing that kind of strikes you in the head, and you're like, I understand maybe the meaning of life. I understand the meaning of this moment. I understand what I need to do today, but I'm scared about what that means for tomorrow, or can I overcome it? But if you can like ride that light, anxiety is actually pretty dope. I've really enjoyed having anxiety in my life.
Attack it and overcome it. That's something else. But yeah, I mean, can you overcome anxiety? The answer is no. I tried weed. It doesn't work.
Okay, so then that's
we'll try again later.
But no, that's a substance or a tool that's outside of you.
Right.
I've had a lot of ups and downs in my life. I've had time periods where I was quite suicidal, and time periods where I was just super depressed, and I've had time periods where I'm super happy. I noticed that when I was alone, not in a relationship, that's where my life was really in a dark place.
Yeah.
But then when I was with someone, it was in a bright place. But then that is this equivalent to relying on weed. You're relying on something that is not inside of you to get over this problem.
Sure.
So I'm not claiming I have the answer to depression or anxiety or anything right now. But in my life, I've cured it. Not 100% where I never have bad thoughts come into my mind. But yeah, I've been able to learn how to use things as a weapon. But also, I have all these different processes throughout my week that just allow me to feel more controlled. One of them is cold showers. Bro, that shit has a lot of health benefits, but also just the mental control. I speak different. I present myself differently. And I attribute it to cold showers because in that cold shower contract where it talks about just like how you're going to be a non-conditional man and operate in any environment, no matter what the condition is. I go to any environment and it doesn't matter if no one vibes with me or whatnot. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's so interesting you say that. So pre-COVID, I still am a member of the LAAC, so the Los Angeles Athletic Club is downtown.
Yeah, that fucking Illuminati Club, yes.
Illuminati Club, I'm a part of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
My grandpa was a Freemason, so I think
get me in there because I want to join,
But they had an ice bath. Dude, I would have friends dealing with an anxiety, and I'd be like, dude, you're going to come to LAC with me and try to have an anxiety attack when you're in an ice bath. good freaking luck. And I still have days where it gets dicey, right? Yeah. The more that I'm on my mission and the more that I'm on a constant conversation with God, and I have such a great relationship with my friends, my family, my girlfriend, it's really hard for me to have a bad day, but that doesn't mean that I don't have bad moments still. Yeah. Still, I don't have bad days, but I have bad moments. And, but when I was having bad days just a few years ago, just hit that ice bath. It shocks the system. It's one of the coolest tools, absolutely, in the bag. So yeah, if you're having an anxiety attack, just throw a bunch of ice in the bath and give it a run.
It's interesting. In high school, I used to have a lot of anxiety attacks in my senior year because I was just going through a lot of stuff in my life that just was like my stepmom and I had a very bad relationship, and then a lot of things at home just were not going good. And I just felt the urge to always go turn on cold water and put my head in there to cool down. And I had a lot of things I had to work on inside where I relied on, I need this right now, otherwise I'm going to go punch a hole in the wall or like really explode. Sure. So that comes into you're so far down that you're in rage where you don't want to even get to that point. We should start to recognize when, hey, I'm starting to go into anger. Now I should actually go find that solution instead of having that immediate thing. But yeah, if you start doing those cold showers or some ice baths and you find out that is an actual awesome tool for you to completely remove whatever. I mean, it forces you to literally control your mind and emotions. Yeah.
And the human brain is such a goofball where like
that word goofball.
Yeah. So you use things sometimes for the moment and then you forget. Like I need a 3-minute or 3-mile run pretty much daily. But I'll do my 3-mile run for a while and then I took a break for like 2 months. And I just kind of forgot that is an essential part of my routine. I don't jog it fast. I don't care what time I come back in. It's usually around like probably 30 minutes or something. But I'm like on an adventure. And I'll sometimes stop at a coffee shop. There's no strategy in this. It doesn't have to be the same place. I really like if it's a little bit of exploration. And so like with that, keeping those fundamental routines in place can be kind of hard. But when you do it right, you realize like, whoa, I haven't had a bad day in a while.
A little bit.
And your brain kind of forgets, and then maybe you start drinking too much or smoking too much or being bad to yourself or other people, and then you find yourself back in that rut. And then you're like, oh shit, LJ, you got to get back to your basics. Yeah. You know, you got to get down to the rut. And mine starts with like 3-mile run. Yeah. It's an ice bath if I can. 100%. Steam and saunas, real dope of them living a Gucci life. 100%. But it's hard to sometimes remind yourself of that when it's good. No, 100%. When you're in that, like, you're just on that nice plateau above that trench.
Yeah, I caught myself, like, when I was very young, luckily. Like, this happened when I was going into sophomore year of high school. And I caught myself in that same process. We're basically, like, I've always worked out. I used to play sports, when I was in elementary school. And in middle school and as well as 8th grade, like I was running, doing some kind of exercise. And for the first time in high school, when I first started my sophomore year, because I technically whatever, when I first started my sophomore year, I was like, I initially started in high school with no exercise. They're just like, yeah, you do your classes and you go home. I was like, what the fuck is this? I started feeling strange. I started feeling like I wanted to fight somebody. I started feeling like I had way more energy that it had nowhere to go. So, yeah. So I'm like, am I gonna start doing a school shooting? Like, what am I gonna do?
Sure.
And then all of a sudden,
the American dream.
Yeah, the American dream. And then all of a sudden, like some guy who happened to be the Yala wrestling coach was like, yeah, come join our team. You would actually be great for being a little person that you would fuck some people up at a 103 weight class. And I'll be like, sounds great. I'll do it. And it ended up being the best thing for my life because, number one, I was already used to exercising, but that exercise literally was able to release the tension, if you will, like release the tension I had, release like my literal anger that I grew up with, release just gave me peace and patience and gave me the essential points of being a human being because I was so out of it when I wasn't used to working out.
Have you brought that back yet? Have you gotten back to going to like a mat or to a gym?
I brought it back
because like that primal state's very important for dudes.
I brought it back a little bit, but then like my wrestling class, like the whole class closed, so I have to go to a different place. So I've been biking. I changed the biking, like going like down English. This place called Old English, where we actually used to run in wrestling class. I kind of do a little bit of like a psychological whatever, and I take my bike down Old English.
And you're like back in that old zone.
Yeah, back in the
like
old
cutting
zone.
weight.
Yeah, because we used to run when we used to cut weight down that same road.
Okay.
So I take a bike down that same road.
You can go there.
Yeah,
to that peace place.
Really interesting. So so I want to ask you, because we're going kind of long so far, and I want to ask you a little bit about your KPIs. You implemented KPIs like salesmen, and I'm a salesman, so like I really took a little bit from that to implement KPIs in your everyday life for everything you're doing and keeping track of it. I mean, what time am I waking up? What exercise am I doing? What am I doing when? And is also asking myself, making sure I ask myself the same questions of, am I doing what I said I'm gonna do? And I noticed that we asked you that question because of you keep your track down, keep tracking down to the finest details. What made you use the sales technique in your daily life, and how is that so effective in your program?
I've always been really intrigued with watching military boot camp videos and seeing how a person, when they go into those boot camps, is completely different when they are leaving that boot camp.
Yep.
Because they go through a process that really defines and molds them. They say that they break people down and then mold them into what they need to become in order to be a great soldier. And so when it comes to first starting with looking at what you want in your life, and you take that time to get connected with your soul and go, okay, this is what I want. All right, boom, great. That's out of the way. Now let's reverse engineer and backtrack to find out what are those key things you need to be doing and focusing on in order to get to that place. And so you can really look at every aspect of your life, even with dating, right? Like, say, for example, you're in a relationship and you're realizing, hey, I need to really have about one date night a week.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then
you gotta keep
maybe
you gotta keep on
2 30-minute phone calls throughout the week to have that happen.
Right.
Great. That becomes your standard.
Right.
Now, obviously, in that dynamic, going above and beyond, like, and if you're talking about sales, I'm going to go from 10 sales a week to 500 sales a week.
Right.
You're going to be happy, right?
Right.
But if you go from 2 phone calls a week with your girlfriend to 500, that doesn't have that same effect of things are great.
Well, it's kind of like that person who thinks that running is where they need to be, and then before you know it, they're trying to run 60 miles a week or something.
Right.
And you're going, dude, just run do
more.
your thing that you need to do.
Right.
We sometimes do get caught in this like have to progress mentality.
Yeah.
Where like there are some things in life where it's just good to like you have a threshold, like a stabilizing point. Because I've had so many buddies start running with me, and before you know it, they're running like 10 miles a day, and I'm just sticking at my 3, and they're kind of looking at me like, when are you gonna like jump up to 5? And I'm like, I don't know, like never. And then 6 months later, I'm like, how's your 10 miles a day going? They're like, oh, I don't run anymore.
Yeah.
I only go to the gym.
That's where the burning out comes in, because they overdo it. And again,
burn out.
So like with working out for myself, I can recognize when I really need to do more reps or stay longer.
Sure.
But I also recognize like, also, if I'm overdoing something so much and it becomes less exciting to me, yes, there's discipline where it's important to do things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want to be a fucking disciplined guy that hates his life and is a robot.
Right.
I want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
So that comes into the aspect of there's a threshold. What is the standard that keeps your life working the way it needs to work? And when it comes to working out, like that's 5 days a week I need to work out. When it comes to calorie intake, I don't even know what my full calorie intake is now, but like I'm eating a lot of food, and there's like at least 5 solid meals throughout my day.
Yeah.
If I have less, I don't work as right. So then that's where you can start to realize that there's things you can track in your everyday life in every aspect. And so just like in business, how you want to track your numbers, that's all business is numbers, right?
Yeah.
Being able to look at that and relate it to your own personal life, it's been working for me, and I think a lot of people can find a way to tie that into their own life as well.
Yeah.
I like
Great.
that.
And I see, in COVID 2100 it says, most people are afraid to deep dive in their passions so they can keep, so they can basically still be social. What's the balance? I mean, so that's what's really interesting. Ken really mentioned it the most. Is like, so when we go deeper into our passions, are we sacrificing the people that make us? Are we sacrificing the things that make us happy, or sacrificing the people that make us happy? Are they sacrificing the people that give us the energy to make us happy. You know, that's what we get to create a balance in, because you know, there's no really one formula to balance, but like, my goodness, you know, you really get to be passionate about what you want to be in, but at the same time, we have to keep, you know, essentially remember the things that, you know, put you into the place of, you know, being happy and keeps you sane.
So notice how they have so they can still be social. So they didn't say still have their current friends. Yeah. So if your goal is be social, I mean, well, likely whatever your passion is, you'll find people that are interested in that as well.
You'll be social.
So there's boom, you'll be social as hell by being around a bunch of other people with the same interest.
Social person, right? And I loved Minnesota. Like, I loved Rochester, Minnesota, and I still do, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to talk about it in past tense.
Yeah.
I love Minneapolis. I love all of my friends there. But there was like this tickle that I had in my heart, and a few of my other buddies who moved out here with me, that we needed to go discover something. And with FaceTime and with text messages, with Instagram and all that stuff, all of those relationships can stay intact.
Yeah.
And luckily, like, our life story is shorter than we probably wish. And so, like, you know, you still have those great memories that you had with those people. But I had a fear of missing out on all the other great people and souls that I would meet in my purpose.
Right.
So, like, that doesn't mean that I still have, like, my best friends there, right? And I still have best friends here. And I bet I still have a few best friends in my future that I have yet to meet.
Right.
And so I have a fear of missing out on, like, that, like, connecting with the people that help me push towards my overall journey. Right. And so it is tough as a guy who, like, dude, just having like a core crew in Minneapolis. Like, we go out all the time, like the best group ever. We had 3 houses that were right next to each other, with like 7 guys in each house, right?
Oh, yeah.
That were after college.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, what the heck is going on here? And we were squatted up, and like some of our best girlfriends lived right down the street. I had to break it, because also some of those social dynamics, because I had so many people like right here all the time, I wasn't able to go to that next step that I needed within my journey. I needed within my own experience. And that is a difficult one to break when you are social. But I would say get that fear of missing out on what that next social experience looks like for you.
Also, I've, in the past few years, operated the same way, where I'll have my head down and disconnect and kind of disappear for about a month to 3 months, and then come back, be social. And that's what that time in Hollywood where we met. Yeah. That was me coming back after about 4 months of just not seeing any friends, not going online, being very inactive in the world, because I was working on myself and building something. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm just disconnecting, because now when I return to being around friends and like putting myself out there online, I'm going to have a new tool, but also I've upgraded. I'm a different person.
Right.
Sure.
It's important to be able to do that, because you have to disconnect from your current environment to level up or get to that next phase.
Coming out here this summer.
Yeah, and no one, and you know what? No one, well, it actually doesn't matter who, but basically, like, if you go silent for a minute and upgrade yourself, I mean, dude, you're going to come out the other side feeling great, and everyone's going to recognize that. By the way, your new circle of friends that you're going to introduce yourself to are going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? This guy is great. How come I never seen or met this guy before? Because this person took the time out to like really reinvent and be able to create the best version of themselves. And not a lot of people do that, unfortunately. So like it's
a weapon. It's a superpower. When you do that, you become a new person, and the old you is no longer alive. And I look at that in the most incredible way, because I don't want the 70% of my potential Ken Conklin to be alive. I want the 72 that I'm going to step into.
Right? Sure.
Right.
Do you still have like a core group that you're interacting with a lot? Because I like if like, let's say as friends, like if you haven't heard from me in a week, I'm not doing well. Like I can disconnect. I definitely need like the disconnect for a weekend, right? I always think I need like a week, and then
like a couple months,
and then but I only need really 2 days. Or I'll even tell the curly headed overlord, like, hey, I just need to like just do my own thing. Just watch some stupid YouTubes.
Yeah.
Nothing, right?
Yeah.
And then 2 hours later, I'm like, I'm kind of back.
Yeah.
Right. But when I was able to kind of disconnect, I was able to disconnect with a tribe.
Yeah.
And it was really like two of my best friends from college where we like moved out to San Francisco together and we like fought that fight. And we just internalized it. So I did it like, it was kind of like the stupid COVID thing, like together apart a little bit. Like we were truly a few guys together, a tribe together. Right. But we did intentionally all say like, yo, we have to strip everything that we expected our lives were becoming in order to get to our future. Yeah. But do you do that individually? Were you like actually doing it alone?
I'm like, so like I have a handful of friends, really, like I'd say 2 people that come to mind where I'm like, hey, these are like my real best friends. I have plenty of other really close friends. I've had one best friend for the past like 8 years almost, one for the past like 4 years, and then a handful of just close friends that I value a lot. Right. Having in my life. But in Los Angeles, for example, I've had and you guys just living in Los Angeles, it's impossible not to experience this. Having so many people come in and out of your life to where now that's where my perspective towards dating, but also just like people in general, like
it's unfortunate
when people throw around the word love, like even if it's like a bro, right, being like, oh man, I love I love you, bro. I don't use that word very often. Like that's a very rare word for me to use, even with someone that's very close to me, because like there's this one guy that was over at the house a couple months back and he kept saying, oh, I love that person. We're talking about different people. And he said like the word, I love that person like 7 times in like a 10-minute time period. And I didn't call him out, but like I did address it. Like how many, you love a lot of people. Like you say that a lot.
Yeah. And it felt disingenuous.
Of course. And so, and that's where
it's a strong word.
It is. But there's also a lot of people that, again, like what I was talking about, like I kind of recognize, I even have a video on my YouTube channel that kind of, it's like a 2-minute cinematic clip talking about like, hey, be present in the moment or whatnot. Yeah. But it's also kind of like I think it's beautiful if you guys watch it afterwards. Yeah. But I recognize that so many people will not actually be in your life that long now, to where maybe that's why I don't like going to bars. And I think it is because I even said that to my buddy Nick.
It's a coping mechanism. You're like, I can't meet anymore. They're going to be gone.
Yes.
So I've lost like 25 of my like favorite people during COVID from I'm just saying from LA. Like all of my like buddies that like just the kind of the text of like, hey, like what are you up to? Booted. It's wild. Or at least California. So this is a whole nother experience, but LA already had that in the other 3 years that I was here, right? So like or 2 years that I was here before that. It went in cycles where you're like, oh, I kind of mess with this person. But then spatially it's weird too. Because if you live in Venice, you can't really have a downtown friend. You live in Hollywood, it just
you can.
It feels like the same city, but it's really not.
You can, but it's weird. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's.
And so I do question, what is the point with many like relationships, in the sense of and again, then people could take this different ways. I just view it as, all right, go to a bar, for example. Like say my intention is I want to get laid. I know we've talked about this a handful of times, but like I don't even like care about sex that much. But like if we're a guy going, hey, I want to get laid, then yes, you can go out to a club and bar. But if like, say you're already talking to someone and your intention is, say like, I'm feeling like I want to have sex and I have this connection with this person, why not just have them come over and then do the action instead of go out and like, or if it's like, hey, I just want to disconnect with some friends. Like, I don't know. I just only need like 5 core people in my life at a time to be like, hey, I have some variety. I don't rely on just this one person to bring companionship into my life at that moment or whatever. I totally lost my train of thought. I totally went in a circle.
Though. So guys that burn through like a lot of girls, I'm always surprised. I'm like, have you not found one girl that like has some sticking power in this? And I've had buddies that like burn through a lot of girls, and they just had sex with tons of women, right? And they would have sex with really cool girls, but they wouldn't keep them around for a second. And I would actually sometimes like end up still being friends with some of these girls after they, just kind of had their wham and bam with them. One, because sometimes it was like mutual friends, or two, like that somehow they just stayed around our lives. And it was just interesting to me, like, how would you not like take the time to like invest in that space a little bit?
So I think,
not that I even like wanted to have sex with that person, but it's like, really? Like,
so I
she's
think,
pretty cool.
Yeah. So I definitely am not on that category where I wouldn't say I burn through girls. I've had times where I go through a drought, but that's because like I have no desire. Like, yeah, I have sexual desire, but not enough to make me go out and try to meet people, because I just don't care enough. Like, I have my other priorities that I find is more important to focus on. But when it comes to, for example, I've had two actual relationships where I call it like actual official girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yeah.
I've dated plenty of people, but I've had two where I'm like, wow, like I really am connected with this person and we've really explored each other. And as I'm getting older and feel like maturing more, I look back at those with only positive, thoughts. But I also recognize like, wow, like I thought these two things were something that were actually going to actually be the thing, the soulmates. Right. To where now it's like kind of, I don't even say ruined, but it's really opened my eyes, I guess, to the reality of, I just truly believe people come and go so much, at least in this city. Maybe I'll be in a different place when I'm 30 and whoever the fuck knows where I'm at.
Yeah. A couple of things, right? Like,
yeah.
It's like, yes, people come and go in the city, regardless if it's Los Angeles, LA, Miami, whatever. Los Angeles, New York, Miami, whatever. And also, that's just kind of a part of life. I mean, Jesus Christ, even if you're in like, some buttfuck Arizona,
where I'm from.
I'm sorry, but
no, 100%.
Maybe.
How funny is that?
But also it's like it's like a weird part of life. Like, I feel like we evolve. If you hear the story of most people, they say like, I had a best friend, and then eventually, and then I had a girlfriend, and then eventually, and this and that, and eventually, or God, I had a wife, and eventually. But unfortunately that's correct. We really do go through people in a season, and even it says in the Bible, things are seasons. Not everything's forever. But I mean, at the same time, we get to hold on to the relationship, very, truly, cherish this relationship, and as well as grow as well. Not every girlfriend is for us, but like, my goodness.
But that's where it comes into a shift in perspective. I would only get into a relationship with a woman because I thought, oh, does this have potential to be the one?
Right.
Versus now, which maybe some girls won't want to hear this, but again, like, I'm all about being upfront. Like, I now view dating in a different perspective than I used to, where it was like, oh, I'm not going to date this person unless I truly believe
unless I give a fuck,
I could get married to them. Now it's different, where it's like, okay, I'm down to get a girlfriend, but I'm no longer coming at it from the same perspective of, oh, like, this is the one.
Right. Yeah.
I used to, so like, I had it mixed up. I would go, oh, I'm only going to date this person if I think I could marry them.
Yeah.
No, I realize now, like, you're supposed to date to find out if you could have a long-term thing with them.
And that can be healthy and really fun. To just be like, hey, I think you're cool. I think you're sexy. Maybe you just like the same experiences, right? Like, oh, you like just go bounce around different restaurants or whatever it is that you share a mutual thing with.
Yeah.
That can be so much fun for a bit. And I think you both kind of are looking at each other in the eyes like, this is temporary. Like, you meet so many of these things, but it's kind of a friends with benefits that's a little bit more contractual, where there's, maybe there's a conversation where like we're kind of intimate together. We're not bringing too many other people into this space.
Right.
That can be so good for self-discovery. And then I think when you get into that kind of space, you're in the jump rope. You're getting good at dating. You're having fun with it. You learn a lot about like new foods and new spaces.
And you're no longer as emotionally attached as maybe you once were. At least for myself, for sure.
100%.
And dating in general, not necessarily for this specific girl, but like emotionally attached outside of dating. So the next girl you date, you're kind of like, there's levels to emotional attachment. You're really attached to the first one, then the second one, then the third, fourth, fifth, and then you start to get a little phased out by the end. What is interesting about that being said is actually, is if you go back to like the historic version of why you should get married, is you're supposed to get married to your first love. I feel like scientifically, because of that reason, because like, you know,
I don't think marriage actually says that though.
No, it doesn't necessarily.
Like the Bible's not really about that.
It doesn't necessarily say that, but I mean like relationship sex as well.
Yeah, because the Bible's like, yo, bro, just so you know, sex gets dicey.
It gets dicey.
It's mingling of the souls. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Be careful with this superpower.
Right.
Because it's fun as fuck, but it hurts.
Because over time you're dating other women, you're fucking other women, and like the second, third, fourth women, it's not as emotionally attached as the first, second. Like you're dating third, fourth, and you after you're like fourth or fifth, you're just like,
well, yeah, I now
fuck. It's not even like it's not even making love. It's not even sex. It's just I just fuck, and then you just fuck, and then you just move on, and then you're not like I fucked before. Like it's not the same. Is what I'm saying. And like, I'm not gonna go back and marry that woman and look her back in the eyes.
More love. Stop fucking. So
no. I
make love, dog.
I am in space of fucking, and I am in the space of like I'm dating this girl, seeing this girl, and I'm just like, yeah, we're just friends with benefits. But like, I don't want to.
She sounds like a sweetheart, and she's listening right now.
She sounds great.
Like and subscribe, episode 15.
She's fine. She probably uses this podcast, but like. At the same time, like, I kind of don't want to marry, even though she wants to get married to me. But I'm sorry, but like at the same time, like you're just not my girl because I already went through a bunch of times, and we're just not that type of relationship anymore. So it happens like that sometimes. But like, I'm sorry, but I already fucked you, not made love. So,
dude,
man,
she sounds like a sweet gal.
I'm sorry. You know who you are, M word. You know,
ooh,
she knows her name. Anyway.
Oh my.
Anyway.
I apologize to the brokenhearted
or
out there. I feel like this could have been a traumatic experience to the brokenhearted.
M or K
and
or L.
I just want to give space for peace and hope for these individuals.
If she listens to this, she's actually gonna be very pissed at me. I'm not gonna lie. That's just a story.
But that'll probably help.
No, but I mean, in the big city. So I want to ask you, you know, one of the big last questions I have for you.
Yeah.
Ken, about your program is a little bit about the negative experience reframing. So, you know. And as well, actually a couple of things. So negative experience training, and as well as the 3 keys to effective meetings. I've noticed that they're a form of basically simple self-reflection and just noticing yourself, putting yourself ahead of yourself so you can see who you are. The whole book around your program is built around this, and looks at who are you in the future and what does the future you look like. So I can't help but ask, but with your positioning of like creating this book and creating like kind of like looking at yourself and creating the future self, what does the future Ken look like?
Yeah, well, the whole goal of someone going through Gravel to Castle is to step into a new version of themselves.
Yeah.
Part of that includes having a new perspective, a new lens that you're seeing not only yourself, but also the world through.
Is it like rebirth or is it like your first birth?
Rebirth, I've used that word a couple times, but also like I like stepping in or crossing the threshold or like stepping into a new way of operating. Because I realize like rebirthy sounds culty or religious and whatnot. Yeah, so dumb, and again, like I've realized I don't want to be seen as that, right? That's where like the whole conversations that we were just talking about a little bit ago is like, well, those 2 companies that you said like were cultish that like talk about self-development. It's like, okay, like what? Because I'm all about brotherhood and camaraderie and all those things.
Like it. Yeah.
But the thing is like, and if an intellectual person comes across us and does their research, they're not going to think negative stuff. They could just not be into it. But like, and there's always going to be those idiots that just don't look into something or just like have first impressions of, because like they're just not open-minded or whatever. Yeah. I'm all about having really close connections with a bunch of my clients and all that stuff.
Even though it would be really cool having you on this podcast today, episode 15, and then you becoming a cult leader would feel very cool.
You don't realize that is my whole plan.
That we generated.
So I would be absolutely honored.
Yeah, we'd be pumped.
Be like, he's one of my bros, bro.
Yeah,
I'm in that cult.
If anything,
what was 30 days?
Jared Leto.
We're doing the
my picture.
growth of being a cult leader.
So Jared Leto, you know, did you guys hear about the whole cult thing with him?
Or Jared Leto, like
I watched a 20-minute
ear or something like that. Yeah,
it's not a cult. It's
Jared
so funny.
Leto could probably turn me out.
I was watching a 20-minute little documentary on that whole thing. And they tweeted that just to like for publicity, and they had like, yes, we are a cult t-shirts or something like that. And the whole thing was just to get people talking about it. But literally all these people that were interviewed, like, hey, like talk about the actual experiences inside of this. They're all like, no, it's a joke with this non-actual cult. And like they talked about it, and it was all consistent, and it was all just, again, like an intellectual person that would just know the difference between something that's good or bad. Would go, this is not that.
Even though playing with those negative energies are kind of weird to me. Because I do think there's frequencies, and I think there's good and bad. I think there's heaven and hell.
It's bad for me.
And so, like, when you're like playing with, hey, we're a cult, ha, I think it could potentially get dicey. Where you're like, before you know it, you're like, oh shit, we're in a cult.
Yeah,
and it just kind of like got us.
That's also comes in with marketing, right? You have that conversation that gets someone interested. Hey, we're a cult. Boom, attention, right? Now you get someone to actually engage and do their research. I was watching a 20-minute documentary on the thing that Jared Leto created. And
just
I'm like,
nothing about it.
Wow, this is so cool, right? I would so do this. And you go to a private island and like, I forgot what it was, but it was like a bunch of just like dancing, listening to 30 Seconds to Mars songs.
Do you have to go
private
vegan?
Concerts? I mean, it seemed like the type of people that would go to that would be vegans.
Do you have to go vegan for the 30 days?
I don't think you... Oh, for this?
For you.
Oh, fuck no.
It's red meat.
I eat a lot of meat.
Oh. So this is like an American 30 days.
And so also... it's centered for just...
Yeah,
the thing is, I have women going through this right now.
Okay.
I have guys from all sorts of different backgrounds going through this. And so I'm very open, because I even had one time, I was like, hey, we have a bunch of gentlemen going through the program. I love using the word gentleman because that makes it clear, like, we're going after guys that are, like, overall just, like, cool, down-to-earth, good people, right?
Sure.
I had this one girl respond to something like, why isn't it for women? And I did a little, like, emoji where it's, like, upset. And I just know that for me, using like, this is for businessmen.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have those people going like, oh, businessmen, why not women?
100%. Because I do think it's the best way to learn feminism is through a man. Men teaching men feminism is how it really should be done, because there's a better path.
100%.
Yeah.
And
anyways,
yeah, and it comes into the fuck.
What you were saying was the females felt uncomfortable with you calling it gentleman.
Oh no, it was just one woman that said, like, why isn't this for females? And then I responded, just because I'm not a female. Yeah. I'm talking about my life experiences as a man and what I want to be. I can't teach a female how to become a great father or a better husband. And so I approached it very
sometimes
calmly.
Forget that they like dudes, and it's okay for guys to be guys. Yeah. And that's actually what you're attracted to.
And that's where it comes in.
Now it's not inappropriate for a man to not value a female presence and all of that. Yeah. But, like, it's still cool. It's good to be a guy.
That's what it comes into. All right, ready? The whole phrase of a woman will spend years changing her man and then wonder what the hell happened to the guy she originally married.
Because she raised him like a woman. and all of a sudden they found out. They're like, oh, all my women tendencies didn't work. Can you believe it?
And the woman's no longer attracted to the guy, right?
Because he's a woman.
How many relationships end after the first pegging?
It's
got to be 3 weeks and out.
I would say more than the marital rate, 50%. Okay, so I'm sorry I came back from pissing really loud. So, but I'm just a little angry because yeah,
he's triggered.
I am triggered.
Yeah, he sometimes gets on a pedestal, gets a little ornery.
Because these women like always want us to be like, oh, be this way, that way, 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden we break out of that, we become ourselves, and these hoes want to just be like, how come you're not what I told you to be? Because I fucking wanted to be myself.
And in my own dating life now, because again, I don't value sex or dating life. Yeah. Like, I think most guys, I'm sure there's plenty of guys like me where it's like, hey, I love it. I enjoy having fun and hanging out.
Yeah.
But like also with friends, like I was talking about this with my buddy Nick. I almost go out to hang out with friends with the intention of I want a better work-life balance so I could be more productive.
That's healthy.
Right.
That's healthy.
But also like that, but that shows that the reason I'm doing things is for that ability for me to be more dialed in with my work.
But that's
right?
smart, because it's like I'm going for a jog, so I'm going out to eat with my friends.
Right.
Yes. There's an intention.
You're creating this balance. You're saying, I do need to be careful, and I need social spaces in my life, or else I'm going to get weird.
Yeah, but then what you were talking about of...
I work out for that reason.
I don't like I am myself and I hold my frame, and especially when I'm like as I'm starting to really figure out what masculinity means to me and who I want to be, I'm realizing that hey, there's a frame that I want to always hold, and I can't allow someone to step out of that. Allow me to step out of that frame. That goes in with okay, a woman will start shit testing a man and seeing, hey, is he actually going to hold his frame, or is he going to become that beta simp that starts doing things for me?
Yeah.
But the thing is, maybe a woman thinks she wants that. She's not attracted to that.
How deep
not
in
all
beta simping have you been?
Not deep, but like I don't know. I've watched a lot of videos and read up on this whole topic because it's interesting. Yeah. Because I've recognized I've done certain actions. Like for example, I brought this one girlfriend flowers one time. I don't even want to get into this whole.
And you're crawling and crying.
I think she was cheating on me at that time period. Oh. Like at that night. I don't even need to get into this whole story, but like it was just interesting because I was that boyfriend in a relationship that happened.
Where I mean, you're trying to save it with flowers when she's just trying to get dogged down. Well, and that's a difficult situation to be in.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was that boyfriend that like, oh, I'm such a good boyfriend. I bring flowers and all this stuff, and I did that quite often. Where it's really, I realize now
she's with some dirtball, just like.
Well, I mean, first off, like,
life.
I just think cheating in general, the fact that it's so normalized in our society, that's fucked.
It's so
but the thing is, I would be so like. Even just if I would watch a video talking about like red pill videos on YouTube talking about, hey, if like red flags, look out for women, all this stuff, I would be emotionally triggered when I watch videos because I think about certain experiences of mine. Now, all these things with negative experience reframing, like being able to not be emotional about things and kind of increase that emotional intelligence. Yeah. Now, I'm not emotional about certain things. Like I just accept things for what they are. And so I recognize a woman will leave you if you're not as resourceful or valuable to her as maybe you once were in the past. I don't go, oh, she's not loyal. No, like most people in the world might be. I think it's important to have loyalty, but I also recognize, hey, just fucking be on your path and recognize that the reality is, hey, imagine it just like if a woman's not giving you sex and you want sex, that's something that maybe you value, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing with if you're not bringing home the bread in a relationship or you're whatever, not as attracted to her, that dynamic changes and then things fall apart. Yeah. Instead of being emotional about that stuff, just look at it for what it is and then just find a way to win that game.
Yeah. What's interesting about cheating to me is like I've cheated on a girl once in high school, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a relationship that I really liked. But it was still early in that relationship. Mm-hmm. And I actually felt like I cheated on myself more than I cheated on her.
Yeah.
So I think if you are a cheater and you're cheating on your significant other and you don't feel bad about it, like I just don't understand why you would be in that relationship. Yeah. It's just a bizarre concept. So like once I've crossed that line, I go, like cheating on someone is just cheating on yourself. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's not just cheating on yourself, but also like that's where it comes in with like the lack of values in our society. The fact that cheating has become normalized for a lot of people just goes to show me that whoa, like this is part of the reason why we have certain things that really awaken us to us needing to change, and it's dramatic or traumatic circumstances. And one of them was a breakup a couple months back, and that made me realize, hey, I really need to stop relying on other people for my happiness because I was in a very dark place. And so I finally decided to come up with this book and write down those core values and beliefs of mine because I needed to find out that, hey, this is what I don't like about our society and all these other people. I need to start really defining what I'm all about. And that started from me actually creating a book. And so now I'm working on creating a process for people to become honorable, high-value men. And that started with me just realizing I needed to change that aspect because I despise the fact that cheating is normalized in our society now.
It's brutal. It's stupid.
But also, but this is where it comes into. Those are like it's like Batman, right? Batman's not gonna kill anyone because it goes against his moral code, right? This list of core values, which I titled "The Way We Operate," I'm never gonna go 1% over the line of breaking that core value because of anything that I wrote down. Because those are like strict laws that I live by. Yeah. And for me,
well, it's not to say that you can't, but like you should never put yourself in a place where you would, because that would break down the system that you're building.
Yeah.
And you just like you gotta set yourself up for success, and that would be like letting a virus enter your system.
I think the
chlamydia, herpes, genital warts.
Yeah.
I feel some type of way about this topic.
Okay.
I feel many ways about this topic because I had an ex-girlfriend who was both of those things. Like I put her on the pedestal. She shoved me the fuck down.
Did you simp?
And I simped. And then because of that, I cheated on her.
Oh my god.
You know
you blame her
for your cheating. I blame her for
that is a weak man.
No, so you know what? I fucking she was like this. I always wanted an Indian woman.
That's where I'd be siding with the woman and be like, oh, he's the problem.
You know what? I'll tell you what happened, okay? I've always wanted Indian women. I was like, Indian women are the best.
Indian?
Great Indian,
yeah.
Indian
thing with Indian
Middle Eastern women.
It's part of the show, but it's part of his life.
And when I grew up, I watched what's that one? Egyptian cartoon? Prince of Egypt. I watched Prince of Egypt.
Oh my god!
And I was like 5.
I thought we were talking about Slumdog Millionaire.
No. I watched Prince of Egypt and I watched Aladdin when I was like 5, and I was like, bro.
Aladdin.
And I was like, I gotta have me an Indian woman. And then I grew up and I was like, yo, like, once I get my Indian woman, like, she's just gonna be my wife.
Which we were taking pictures of Indian women this weekend.
Priyanka. And then, thank you very much. And then, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Curly.
Curly-headed overlord. We love you.
I appreciate you. And then, so I finally found her. Finally, over years of research. And then I was like, yo, like, you're on the pedestal. You're the greatest woman of all time. I love you. And you're 40 years old. And at the time, I was 23.
She was 40?
Shut up. And then I was 23 years old. And I gave her the world. I gave her mom all of my.
She was a mother figure?
I gave her all of my $40,000 I was earning. I gave her all of my money.
Wait, this wasn't the rich lady?
No, she was. She was making $200,000 a year.
Yeah, because she set you up.
And I was making $50,000, and I was like,
she's saving that $200,000 because of you.
All of it. And I was like, girl, you're mine.
Did she peg you?
No,
okay.
But yeah, almost. But then he was the worst part about it. Like, it was all these problems that we were talking about. Like, she was horrible at sex. She wouldn't fuck. All she was doing was lay on the bed. And then like we tried, and then our sexual desires were totally offbeat.
Because she was past menopause, bro.
Yeah, she was past menopause. So she has vaginismus. And then we had all these issues.
I don't know what that is, but Google it. If Reddit could please Google that.
Google vaginismus. It's horrible. Okay, you basically can't have sex because her vagina is closed like a virgin. Okay, you can't do it. So I tried. I did all this shit, and then finally, I fucking dated her, and it was just horrific. I mean, I didn't get anything I wanted. I didn't have the sex I wanted. She just gave me shit all the time, and all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm fucking cheating on you. I'm fucking cheating on her. The only girl I've ever cheated on.
Did you tell her immediately?
No,
spiteful.
I never told her. I never told her to this day.
Well, you've told her.
Because fuck this woman. That's why I hate her so much, and I haven't even told her. That's how bad it is.
Okay, well, she's probably on live with us right now.
She's probably looking on Reddit. I blocked her on Instagram. She knows. But like, if the woman doesn't give you what you want, you gotta cheat on her. You have no other choice. No, that's if it gets really bad. But don't do it. My point is I felt really bad about myself after that was over.
Well, it seems like you still feel pretty bad about it.
But then I had sex with my ex-girlfriend, who I still have sex with to this day. So I mean, it's confusing. It's my point. My life is confusing, and then I'm trying to figure this shit out. But my point is like, you know, if the girl that you're dating is not giving you what you want, find something else. I mean, but also, you know, don't date the girl that doesn't give you what you want. So it's just a little confusing. So that's a simplified version of everything they're talking about. I've had experience with that. Not very fun. So if anything, if you don't feel like doing that, just be single. So go through your life being the best version of you can. Then the girl's gonna be attracted to you. She's gonna come to you. That's what's actually happening right now in my life because I have so many bitches coming to me talking about like, wow, Cameron, I want to fuck you.
That's how you attract them.
Because I am following
what cheat code is that? Send that to me.
It's the Gravito Castle cheat code. Because I am following the Gravito Castle cheat code, all these women are just coming up and fucking me. So I'm just
testimony on my marketing. I
am just saying, like, follow the Gravito Castle cheat code, and then you will win, and then you will not get the horrible sexless woman that I used to have, and you will actually have a great life. So anyway, last question.
So can I ask the Love Guru one? Okay. Kenny, is it problematic if I call you Love Guru?
The Guru, I definitely.
And someone listening, she's like, yes. I'm so sorry.
I'm definitely nowhere near the ability to be an expert.
You don't feel comfortable with Love Guru.
I don't ever want to be a guru just because
we didn't have sex at all.
But no.
Do you think in a 21st century relationship we should be posting the breakup video?
Fuck no.
Okay, no breakup videos. That's for the youth out there.
Maybe if you're a celebrity figure and you're dating another celebrity figure.
I didn't realize you were listening. Okay, so I had a friend who's listening, and she's like, "How could Cam's ex be 4 years old?" I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, well, we're all learning things about him
on Reddit.
The whole world's learning things about Cam tonight.
You didn't. I thought you were just streaming on Reddit. What are you streaming on? Are you streaming on everywhere?
Oh my god, yeah, we're on like Twitch.
This is on Facebook. This is being emailed to all your friends.
Facebook.
That's why I went on this.
I think this might even be on our OnlyFans.
I wouldn't have said this if I knew it would have went on YouTube.
No, we're on all platforms.
So I thought we were just streaming on Reddit, so I went all in. I'm so sorry. Now I got text messages saying like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Oh my god. So. I'm sorry. Bullshit. I am so sorry to everyone who's listening.
The last episode was the lost episode. This is episode 15.
This is out and open, and I'm so sorry.
It's currently live, baby. So, like and subscribe.
So here's what it comes down to. We talked a little bit about the nonsense KPI tracking for them. So I want to talk about a little bit about like what this is implementing into your actual life. Like I want to talk about life now, like in the nonsense of life. What does this look like for your life currently now, Ken? Like because of your dating life, your job life, if you will, your career life, and what does it look like for you outside of your actual program to you with people?
Yeah, I've made a decision in my life of what is the most important thing, and it's my life's work. And nothing comes near to be close to being as big of a priority to me as accomplishing what I'm meant to do, because I just know that I don't view myself as some savior or maybe like a lot of these cult leaders. I love watching documentaries on guys that have built something that's different. And then this cult leaders are just something interesting to study, okay?
Yeah, they're fascinating.
Yes. Because in a way, when I was doing public speaking and I was this marketing guy for all these coaches and consultants.
Yeah.
Like in a way, the whole ClickFunnels world, which is that big software that all these ClickFunnels, like just coaches and consultants. No, it's like the equivalent to like entrepreneurs, but like quote unquote the guys that go like, "Oh, I'll teach you how to go live a good life," right?
Oh yeah.
So like in a way, I view that as a cult now, where like that's like a normalized thing.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, I want to be a guru. I'm gonna start selling advice." Like I was in that world for a bit, and it fucking sucks. It's
we
lame
tried to
as hell.
Sponsorship this once, and they did not like that.
Doesn't work. We're not influencing enough.
No. Hair Razor Coffee. We don't talk to them anymore.
But we will. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And so tying that back, I view my life's work as the most important thing for me to put my time and energy in towards.
Yeah.
So when it comes to dating or hanging out with friends or even just family, those are all important things in my life. But number one is my shit, what I'm working on, because it's just what it has allowed me to find peace and happiness. But also, like, again, I've made that decision. There was a point not too long ago where I finally took that step over the line of, hey, I'm all in on this. There's no question about of if I'm going to go this other path. And when it comes into my day-to-day life, again, what I talked about with going out, hanging out with friends or dating, like that's almost like a mechanism for me to be more productive because I know that I need that work-life balance. But in a way, some people can be like, oh, you're kind of crazy, or there's going to be some negative, or I can't think of it, but like I'm sure I would agree in some aspect where
too intense or something, or
yeah, too intense for sure. But like, again, like that's just how my mind works, and that's how I'm a very happy man. When I was doing the shit that is most similar to how other people operate, I was very depressed and anxious and just unsatisfied. For example, the fact that I have a binder with all my beliefs and what I think about literally every aspect of my life, that can be kind of crazy. That's kind of intense.
Sure.
Right? Sure. Imagine having a fucking binder. It's in my car. I have it everywhere I go.
Sure.
That's crazy. Sure. But that has allowed me to make my life work.
Sure. But also let's flip that and be like, okay, so is that crazy, or is crazy, going through your life at, they say, 28 years old, dealing with all these issues, that underlying issues that with your parents and shit like that, not dealing with it, just going to work at your fucking marketing company as an associate, and you're just like type, and you just go home, and then you go back to work, type, and go home. And then you have like shit friends. You don't believe in any of your friends. You don't like them. You don't like any of the people that you work with. You don't like your bosses. You don't like your life. You don't like any of this shit. And all of a sudden you just go back to work. Type, go back home. Go back to work. Is you're crazy, or are they fucking
my
nuts?
Very non-sympathetic response to what you just said is that's a waste of a life.
Exactly.
It's a fucking hamster wheel.
Exactly.
Maybe that is what someone wants, that values that, and thinks what, again, would be the person that would call what I'm how I'm living my life intense and crazy, and like so again, like it all comes down to what you value most. I've taken that time to really assess what is important to me, what is my life purpose. The fact that I know, and I say this every single time when someone asks what is your life purpose, it's to help set the tone for the next generation.
Right.
I've made that decision. It doesn't matter what anyone tells me. This is where that conviction comes in. But again, I've been able to develop this conviction in myself. And like this has been an awesome conversation. You guys are cool ass fucking dudes.
Appreciate it.
I'm excited to hang out with you guys.
We're friends now.
Yeah, some homies
we're
now.
hanging out tonight.
Yeah, well, we're joining his cult.
Mike. Yeah, we're joining.
I'm 30 days.
You guys submitted the payment, right?
We're joining the cult.
I have your social security number. I have your mother's maiden name.
So
I'm gonna have to check what answers I don't have yet.
Fucking Cardano, Jessup. I swear.
No, but the thing is, like, this isn't coming from like, oh, I need to go hang out tonight in order to go be productive. Like, that's my overall sense of why I tend to go hang out. Yeah. But like, I'm a human being who loves to be present, and I have a work-life balance.
Right. Sure.
But I view that life of just going in a circle, which also includes most of the perspective of just getting married and having a family. Like, you ever seen the movie This Is 40 or Knocked Up?
I see Knocked Up.
I was watching the trailer and a bunch of clips today because it just popped on my YouTube algorithm. Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, I need to not get a girl pregnant anytime soon.
Jesus.
Yeah. Because
the
all
girl
of a sudden
he got pregnant was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, he got a cool girl pregnant. So it was a good story in that
But
case.
that guy wasn't on the path.
Right.
I'm on the path.
Oh, she got him on the path.
She got him pregnant. That's what happened.
That's right. Pregnant with love and journey.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a difference. There's a difference. She got.
But then what happens when she's like, you know what? This guy's actually not a man that's worthy of me. This beautiful bombshell blonde badass. I'm gonna go find a new guy. Now that guy is gonna start that cycle, which leads him to Gravitas Castle of, oh my God, my entire world and value was with this woman. Now I have nothing. Well, guess what? You had nothing beforehand, but now you got shaken out of apathy because of a dramatic or traumatic experience. Yeah. Now you're going looking for answers. Then you come across a YouTube video where Gravitas Castle is speaking to your soul. Yeah. And now you're going, oh shit, I'm going to explore this, but I'm not going to be the guy that's coming and saying, hey, I have all the answers. Yeah. I'm going to say, hey, I have the path that you do need to go on, but you're going to find those answers yourself.
Yeah. One thing that got me, like, a number of things that got me on your program, but like one thing that made me really truly think about, paying attention to your life path due to your program. Because of I had a roommate who was actually living in my former house who was 43 some odd years old. I told you about it a little bit.
You were like best friends at the time.
No, we weren't. He was like 43 some change, and I was living with him in the same house. And he was asking like me for favors and shit, and like, hey man, could I use your scooter? Hey man, could I use your food? Hey man, could I eat that? Hey man, could I? I'm like, dude, you're 40 something. What the fuck are you asking me for? Like at that time, I'm like 2 years ago, so I'm 23. Yours, and I'm like,
but your scooter was lit.
My scooter is lit. Don't get me wrong, but no 40 some odd year old is asking me, can I use your scooter for my main source of transportation to get anywhere because I have no other source of transportation. So and then another like just shit to basically say like a number of things. But one thing that really came, one thing that he said that will always stick with me, is what you actually said earlier today. Is like, he was 43 and he's like, and I asked him like, how old are you? And he said 43, and he's like, damn, he goes, shit goes by fast. And it really struck me because I was like, son of a bitch, whatever I do in my life, whatever the fuck I do not want to be like,
dude,
you.
All the guys I've interviewed, I love asking questions. That topic on marriage has always been interesting to me, especially in the past year and a half.
Okay.
But then especially just like life. And dude, most guys don't know what the fuck
they're doing this. So that's why I really like your program. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah,
but that's what
I was like losing my train of thought.
No. So that's where I like your program, because you're really directing and really putting yourself in the position to pay attention to where the fuck you're going in life and paying attention from step by step rather than just guessing. Because a lot of guys are just guessing, and you're really like just figuring it out. And by the time you're 38, 45, whatever, you're just like, ah. And so what do a lot of guys do, to figure out their so-called path, right? They get a career. They become a cop. They become a fireman. They become an investor. They become a Wall Street guy. They say, this is my job, is my path. There you go. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life.
That's your identity.
And that's my identity. Cool.
And then all of a sudden they're spending 70% of their income on rent. And then they're always staying behind. And all of a sudden 5 years go by and they don't make any progress. And then all of a sudden now they're going, man, what do I really want to do with my life? But now they've lost that time.
Which isn't living odd that happens, though, because what you do spending like 70% of your day doing should be your identity.
No, 100.
So if you're driving a truck and that's 70% of your day or your waking hours, it's just going to be your identity.
And maybe that's true. And maybe their identity is truck driver, and that's their path. And if they love it, then fuck yes. But if that's not it, bro, wake up alert. Right, you got to change shit.
Right, but if you don't like driving the truck, then what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Like, but if you love driving trucks in the country, like you said, I mean, sure, why not?
Sniffing a little coke, maybe some caffeine, just riding in the morning,
doing whatever.
I can see it.
Listening to some Metallica,
delivering Uber Eats. I mean, shit. So I mean,
I did some Lyft.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like delivering someone's fucking California kitchen to someone else's house. I mean, whatever, but at the same time, good and fuck well, you don't want to do it. So, my question is,
I'd be the first person to get fired from like Uber Eats or Lyft if I ever was doing that, because I'd be eating the food myself.
Dude, I'd be like, what smells the best? I want to know, like, is that French fries with Chipotle? Like,
hey, so you ordered this chicken sandwich. You get the fries.
Yeah. You got the chicken.
I ate the chicken sandwich.
You got the chicken habanero fries? My guy. Oh, you are lit.
I was the worst Lyft driver. I did 5,700 rides in 1 year in San Francisco.
Fuck.
5,700?
Yeah. I was cruising, bro. Yeah. And but being in my Lyft was much like being on this podcast. Like, I am just very interested. I don't know if I'm nosy. It's just something that, like, but a lot of the conversations I had were, like, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people were caught off guard, and I'm sure I got the whole, like, person who takes the selfie and says, my Lyft driver won't shut the fuck up.
Right.
But then again, I'm like, you're in my whip. We got 2 miles left. I'm bored. I can't listen to the music that I want to listen to. You're not going to want to listen to Ben Shapiro now in San Francisco.
Dude, Ben Shapiro is so intelligent. I admire the fuck out of him. I don't understand why people.
I listen to NPR too. I love listening to all liberal stuff. I love listening. All right.
Before we get into that, let's talk about with comments. Unfuck Yourself, Gary John Bishop is a great read. I actually want to read that book. I actually want to check that book out. Have any of you guys seen that?
No.
I'm fucking myself all these years.
Yeah, most people just watch Netflix or waste time though. Yeah, you're fucking right, and that's where it leads to people just like living their life, and all of a sudden they look at it like, oh, that was a month, oh, that was a year, oh, that was fucking 3 years. All of a sudden I'm 43.
But Queen's Gambit does make you want to change your life. You turn into a chess player by like episode 4.
But you change your life and turn into a chess player, not continue to just watch Queen's Gambit and just watch that chick with the big eyes.
I'm just saying, fucking live her life. I'm saying you're lost. Watch either a cult movie or Queen's Gambit, and it will change your life.
I do think women with big eyes are more attractive in movie films. That's just what it is. And I kind of, I'm sorry for the girl that's listening who's watching this. I whatever. I think big eyes are pretty cute. Anyway.
Oh my.
I think old school thought was just planned pregnancy. In today's world, what do you think in today's percentage is in Planned art? What?
Planned Parenthood?
Planned Parenthood?
Is that what it was going into?
I think in old school thought was planned pregnancy. In today's world, what do you think today's percentage in Planned Parenthood?
Planned Parenthood. Maybe like
Plant Parenthood.
Yeah, Planned
Parenthood.
He spelled it weird, but it's okay.
Can you break it down for us?
So I think
you have the knowledge?
I think what he's saying is love used to be marriage back in the day. Now that love is not necessarily marriage and babies, there's a lot of Planned Parenthood, basically abortions. But I think that's what he's asking. Like, what is the percentages in that, versus the old school babies?
Yeah, and that's where I think it's the confusion of what marriage is. Because
Right.
I think marriage only works if it's a purpose. So it's like it's always looking at that person if they're like, it's like how we look at jobs,
Right?
We're like, oh, that's a high paying job. That must be great.
Right.
No, that doesn't mean that job would be great. It would
career.
fucking suck to be a Wall Street banker. I would hate that life.
Right.
Even though I would be making money.
Right.
So it's like identifying yourself with some girl that other people would like.
Right.
And you're just living that life. You're living someone else's life. It's gonna be horrible.
Yeah, living in someone else's life. That's not yours. It's not what your passion is. That's not what it is, man. And
is that estrogen?
At this point, we're just going for Reddit, so we're all live. We're just going all in. So at this point, it doesn't matter what we say.
Estrogen runs the world.
Yeah,
but this is not a simp podcast.
This is not a this is a fucking not a simp podcast. This is a man. We're sipping whiskey, motherfucker. We are a man podcast. We have hair growing out of our face and chest. Yeah, I got chest hair.
We were talking about earlier, like not overdoing the workout. I'm gonna start overdoing the pecs.
I'm pumping.
By the end of the summer, I'm gonna have a set of titties.
I used to run for my workouts and do biking for the workout. That's a bitch workout. I need to do pump, iron, fucking shit. Like fucking leg pump, arm pump, chest pump. Fuck all this cardio bullshit.
Pumping, you might be walking around bullying us and picking us up.
Yeah,
like, sup.
Just because you've wrecked
all
going through your
relationships
with females on this podcast, stop wrecking your friendship.
Okay, first of all, I have my.
This is toxic masculinity.
Yeah, this is totally
the worst form.
I have.
That's why we have the curly-headed overlord.
Imagine if you become the face of toxic masculinity.
I think I'm pretty sure my future girlfriend texted me and she's
We'd
like,
sell
"What
it
the
as
fuck
an
is your
NFT.
problem?" Like it's bad. So she texted me like, "You should." Anyway, so I mean, we talked about. So we're talking about BS now at this point. So like, yeah, I just want to reflect on like Actually, I wanted to ask you this question actually. So like, what is the pushback to being like a hardcore man? Because like we want to set ourselves up to be like, fuck yeah, I'm a man. I got big chest. I got chest hair and whatever. And like we have discipline and also the right metrics, the right thing that we're doing. But sometimes, believe it or not, women are just like, not that you're too much of a man for me, but you're like too much removed from my from being in a relationship.
I'm too intense for most people. That's for
Right.
sure. Men and women. It's interesting in the beginning, but very few people are like, "Oh, I need this in my life all the time." Actually, I think, I mean that's accurate. Some people would be like, "Oh, yes," but some of my friends are like, "Dude, you're too intense." Like, or maybe they don't even say it, but I recognize it, which is fine. But that, because I know myself and I'm just me, I know who I'm supposed to be in this world, and I'm just so. Again, this comes into the priority. I am all in on my expansion as a person in all areas, not just work-wise or all of that. It's every aspect.
Yeah.
Being a better person who gives back to his community, everything. Like, I want to volunteer. I know you guys talked about, or you talked about that stuff. Like, I want to get involved in that.
Would love it.
Yeah. He wants to talk about,
Get out there.
He wants to get involved in the Watt Center.
Oh, dope. Love it.
Yeah, so we talk a little about that. So, I guess my final question for you specifically, is beyond what does that effect happen with people, but like I mean, holy shit, now I'm forgetting what I'm saying. Basically, I'm trying to ask like where do we go from here? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like if we set ourselves in a position to become more of a man, and where do we set ourselves up to go? Because a lot of us men are very target oriented. We fucking see a target, we shoot it point blank. And I think we set ourselves up to basically be better, but like we want to be better for something, for a reason, for a target, for a specific type of thing. What does that look like for you to aim at and target for, rather than just being like a macho for no reason?
Well, yeah, so I mean, macho, that kind of makes me think of like masculine, tough guy.
Yeah.
Like, my goal is to be an honorable, high value man who creates a dent in the world.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I definitely want to be a dangerous man who's non-violent.
Yeah.
Meaning,
Macho always comes off like you're hiding a gay secret. You know what I mean?
And
nothing wrong with that. But like it's like they have something wrong with it. You know what I mean?
And so even with like the alpha versus beta,
alpha is more.
Obviously, I'd rather be an alpha, and I would identify as that if I had to use one of those two. But I like the phrase "honorable, high value man" because in my mind, that just means someone who is respected because of who he is inside. You don't become an honorable man from being wealthy, right?
Yeah.
That's from like who you are as a man. I want to be a guy that is involved in his community, and leaving a dent in the world is partly part of what I'm doing in my career because I want to make better leaders from the guys that are going to be stepping into that position. But then also at the same time, I want to make guys who, and this is probably stemming from my high school I went to. It was an all-guys private Jesuit high school. I was the one kid that didn't go to a four-year university, so I didn't go that route where it was kind of intended for it to become a college prep school.
Right. Sure.
But they had a value called being a man for others. And I realized that really shaped me because I have a genuine desire to actually give back and help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's interesting. One of my favorite books is called Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart?
Wild at Heart. And it's how do men step in to Christianity with their manliness intact? And what is God's expectation of why we have this aggression and testosterone and this desire for risk and adventure, right? And it really talks about how sometimes we think about like stepping into your future and your purpose as like you have to like deny like your manlyhood in a way. Like you have to like our perception of it, right? We think, okay, you got to be quiet. You have to put a suit on. You have to like do all these different things. And it's really distorted expectation. Like to be a man in your purpose is actually to use those tools to the benefit of like protecting tribe.
Yeah.
And to stepping into conflict when it's the right time.
Yeah.
And to pursuing wild things, right? Like pursuing dreams that don't seem attainable.
And that comes in with being a capable man. I think a man needs to be able to defend his family or his community, and that comes in with I want to be a guy who's capable of killing anyone that I come across if needed be. I'm not a violent man where I want that.
Right.
But sure as hell, I love doing jujitsu and playing around boxing with the partial of like a desire just to have that outlet to have fun and get aggressive. Yeah. But also it's like, hey, strategic. I want to learn how to be able to kill someone or really maybe even
it's dicey.
Put a guy in a position where he can't go kill me or anyone else, but I'm actually in a safe way preventing him from doing stuff. So like in jiu-jitsu, like being able to have someone in a headlock where they can't get out.
Yeah. And
so you're hurting them, but also at the same time, you're not killing them.
You're not intentionally killing them. Like I feel that way for wrestling. Like same thing. Like I just want to get them away from me so it doesn't hurt the people behind me that I'm trying to protect. Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so there's that aspect, and this is tying with the whole question of like how do you combine all this stuff?
Yeah,
you know, I want to make sure that I in my own life become this well-rounded guy who people can respect. I don't care if you like me, you can disagree with most of my stuff, but I know that again, if you're an intellectual person, you're gonna look at my path and what I'm trying to build and recognize that, oh, this is actually a good thing with genuine intent. You could be an idiot that just has no self-awareness or no ability to step outside of your small mind to then go, oh, like, is this actually a good thing? Like, again, I'm not going after dumb people. I'm going after people that are actually driven and want to expand.
So your clientele is not losers.
Yeah.
No.
It's not like 7 steps to turn a loser into a chooser.
No.
Okay. Sick book title, though. Why don't you jump on that?
Yeah.
And then that's what comes into that whole aspect of the gurus. Like we talked about this. I subscribed to a bunch of these channels that shit on these like entrepreneur people because I now look at that space that I used to be involved in a couple years ago where I was in the public speaker space. Dude, there's a bunch of schmucks just standing up on stage just acting like they have the secrets of the world. I wasn't necessarily that, but I kind of was that in some aspect where I was this young guy getting like, oh, look, I live in this cool house. I didn't own it. I never said I did, but I definitely put myself out there as if I was this baller dude. But then that also, as I'm older, allows me to look back and go, I was doing that for self insecurity because I was trying to prove something to the world. This whole process that I've been creating now is all about, dude, you have nothing to fucking prove to anyone except for yourself.
Yeah. If you ever are using like that nature to protect insecurity, that's where you become macho douche. Really.
Yeah.
That's macho. That's macho. Yeah.
Yeah, macho is not a positive word.
Because macho is thin,
right?
macho.
Yeah, macho man. No one wants to be a macho man anymore.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of douchebag in me, but I kind of try to like sand those edges off.
I identify with intentional. If I can become like, if there's one word for people to describe me as intentional, which I think I've pretty much stepped into that, where it's like, I fucking write down what I'm doing and why I'm doing stuff, and I assess my days. Yeah. That word, but like that's something I take pride in.
Yeah, setting yourself for success, man. Setting yourself up to really notice who you are. You know, I mean, goodness gracious. So a lot of bit of this talk has been about noticing who you are as a man, reflecting who you are as a man, like noticing, you know, when you get mad, noticing, you know, how you are in relationships, how you are in not only relationship with women, but relationship with the people of your friends, relationship with your parents, and XYZ. And really take into account, you know, what part you're playing in, or what part, you know, what part you are. I guess what you're causing essentially in that relationship, and like what cog in the machine that you actually are. And I think what we like, you know, as people, we tend to go default, where we're seeing people in relationships as, it's, you know, it's their fault. It's my relationship's fault. It's my parents' fault. It's my friend's fault. It's this people's fault. But actually, reality is, it's a little bit of all of us. And, you know, taking account for who the fuck you are and what you did, and not only that, but even beyond that, but what you get to do in the future. So, I mean, my God.
The only way to win in life is to take ownership of everything.
Everything.
Oh, this person cheated on me? That's my fault.
No problem.
I just got rear-ended? That's my fault.
I mean, so we get the. I mean,
getting in a car crash and totaling your car? That was your fault, motherfucker.
I was getting some taquitos. Is my fault to get potato or avocado taquitos? I mean, maybe.
Hey, you chose to drive on the road.
Don't get me wrong.
If you didn't want to get in a car crash, you should have been on the road, right? That's where you identify that.
Okay, but sure.
Please break through to him, Kenny.
But here's the thing: when you accept that you are fully in control, yes, that asshole that rear-ended you and then caused your car to hit the wall, is it your fault in the sense of, hey, no,
it's
right?
Cam's fault.
Well, guess what? No. If you can take full control of your entire life, then all of a sudden you're in control and everything is up to you. Yeah. That's just power that I want to be delusional with. Thinking I have.
There's actually a certain level when it actually is my fault, but I can't say it on live because I'm gonna.
Well,
I'm gonna fuck myself in front of my insurance company.
Don't be calling Geico.
Geico is gonna say what? Who? What'd you say?
It was Ken that said it was my fault, not me.
That was sick that they gave us that Mustang because we were ripping.
We were. Hey. A convertible Mustang. We're up and down PCH, chilling, my guy. So I mean, shout out to Enterprise. Okay, shout out to
shot a music video. Can't release it until the case is
the whole bit, you know. And I paid extra for that Mustang, but motherfucker. But hey,
Geico comments, gotcha, bitch.
Gotcha. Yeah. Your back ain't broke.
I love it. Like, so he was just flying down PCH, right?
What? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Geico.
Yeah,
no, it wasn't.
And so I'm like,
no, it wasn't.
You think there's not like a tracker in this car? For Geico's like, hey, let's see how good,
how fast he's going.
Put a little tracker in a Mustang.
You know how fast.
Like, oh yeah, sorry, King Cam, your little thing's going up.
Expensive. Yeah, you're not going the proper speed. You're not going the speed limit.
You totally felt.
You know, there's a total tracker in that Mustang.
Ripping down the PCH.
We're ripping down the motherfucker. So I mean, what I'm saying is, as a man, you know. If any of our men has been listening to it, the comments have been, you know, commenting. I mean, us as men, we're just trying to figure out how to be better with ourselves. Yeah, we're just trying to figure out how to be, you know, fill in the gaps of what does it not only look like, but like, you know, what, you know, the questions that we may have with each other. We get to go to other men and say like, hey, like, man, I'm struggling with this. Man, I'm struggling with being a friend. You know, man, I'm struggling with. You know, how can I connect with people? But like, my God, like, there's other people not only around you, but other people that are outside of it.
It's hard to find men's groups that actually are valuable, and this is like a genuine question. The stuff that you've gone through inside of this program and looked at, on a scale of like 1 to 5 of it being like basic stuff to actually valuable stuff that you don't see out like everywhere.
Yeah.
What?
No, it's definitely a 4.5. You know, I can reject the nonsense of it all I want, but the reality is it has fully changed my life in terms of perspective on how I communicate with people and how I look at myself and how I even recognize when a program comes up with how to recognize yourself, how I recognize that. I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar. Interesting. How, you know, why does someone know that? Why does someone reflect back on that rather than me thinking that it's nonsense? So it 100% changed my life. So I think you know, as I'm closing out, as a man, I just want to, you know, point out to the people that are listening, like, you know, sometimes, you know, being a man is more than what you've actually heard from your friend's father or whatever. There's a little bit more of the questions that you might have, because not every man fills in the gap sometimes. You got to ask outside.
Sure.
You got to, you know, you get to ask, you know, people that you don't even know about advice. And clearly, even the people that are, you know, figuring out and creating booklets essentially to figure it out are still trying to figure it out. So, you know, we are all growing. I think as a man, is what we actually concluded here is the way to actually be an intelligent man is always be learning, always be looking for something to new, always be trying to gather information from people that have actually already have done it and say like, I want that, and take that, grow it from it. And if it doesn't work, change it up. If it doesn't work, change it up. If it does work, grab it, add it, and move on.
And that's where that word expansion comes from. Yeah, because it's continuous growth in all these different areas. Because hey, I want to see how far I can take my business in terms of how much revenue I can take it to, right? Yeah. At the same time, I want to know how disciplined I can be in being able to go into cold water like Wim Hof. Totally. In freezing fucking cold water. And be able to just not be reactive and swim next to icebergs. Right. And be able to get on the back of a polar bear and tame it and make it my pet.
So, you know, it's like,
fucking hell.
Totally kidding. Like, but
I'm like, just kind of get that's superpower, right? Fuck. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and so, and like in all the others, I want to see how connected I can be with God and with my family, and just have such an awesome, incredible life. Yeah. And while there's times where this is going to be working great, sometimes that's where the game of balancing all this stuff comes in. Because sometimes you put more focus into one area, because all of a sudden, hey, I gained 20 pounds in the past 2 years, and I'm not really dialed in. I need to go be insane and start running 10 miles a day.
Sure.
Maybe eventually you just go down to that 3 miles, right? But then, hey, you got to go to the extreme. But what if that starts to take away from your relationship? It's all about having that whole entire life balance and duct taping it together. Right. But realizing also duct tape is a temporary solution. Why not find a way to just mold it all together?
Mold it.
I love it.
And then boom!
Yeah, mold it.
So, Kenny, where can they find you?
Yeah.
As we conclude.
OnlyFans / Gravel to Castle. Oh! At Gravel to Castle for the business as our domain and username handle, or the Ken Conklin.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
Yep.
This is Smart Mile.
This is Smart Mile. This is our episode 15. One of our best episodes
live
ever.
From LA.
Our first episode with a guest. And,
hey, cheers. I love Guru.
And yeah, we had a great time. I'm pumped, and we're gonna have a little bit of a party afterwards. And we love that our guests have stayed on for this episode. We have more that are coming on YouTube and such. And we love you all. This is Smart Mall. Check out our merch.
Yeah.
Check out Gravity Castle.
And one final thing too.
Ooh, yeah. Nugget.
I think. How do I phrase this? Most people are uncomfortable with confrontation and having someone challenge their beliefs. I think most people step out of it. I think being a man also consists of knowing what you believe in, putting your foot down, and if the whole entire world's going against you, say, bring it on. And just fucking stick to that plan of trying to solve whatever problem you think needs solving. And so with my whole thing I'm building, I recognize that, again, it comes into, I think any intellectual person will respect it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dumb fucks who are closed-minded and just are idiots, they're going to have, there's always people that always have something to say about something, right?
Of course.
I don't care. Right. But the intellectual people that can actually have conversations and challenge my beliefs, I'm taking the time to actually assess what it is I truly believe and know to be true, which is why I'm not just putting things out there until I actually taking the time to consider myself an expert on that topic. But once I've gotten to that point, being a man consists of being able to be challenged and not step out of your frame. Being able to question, hey, what are they saying? I'm going to look from their point of view and see if that's right. But if you truly believe that, no, what I'm doing is right, and being able to hold that frame and have conviction with it, that's power. And most people don't have that power.
Damn straight.
It's real.
Damn straight.
Yeah, out here at Smart and Mild, we are feminists who defend the patriarchy, basically. That's what it comes down to.
Sort of, yeah. Yes.
Smart and Mild, episode 15. Please go like, subscribe, do all those things. Spotify and YouTube. Over and out. How old is that 40-year-old Indian lady now?
First of all...